The ship was afraid of the American side, coming back from some mill in Wisconsin. Big freighter's dog, it was better than most, with the crew and good captain well seasoned. The going came late and the breakfast had to wait. The waves broke over the railing. Every man knew as the captain did know, which of November comes stressing.
What's up? What's up?
What's up, man?
Dude, some goon
What?
on the YouTube channel in the comments was like, live scopes for losers, man. You should let that guy, if he doesn't want to throw a jerk bait, don't let him throw a jerk bait. You know, in the intro.
Oh, yeah. This is sorry intro, man. Nobody even knows what that's about. It's got to go.
They saw the video.
Yeah, but it's got to go. It's got to go. I mean, you could really treat your co-host better and put, like, when I rack up the big ones when I'm with you. Oh, there's the chatterbait fish, the swim jig fish, the big small I caught on the crankbait. I mean, I can name them. And you're like, how does he do it? That would be way better. But I'll let you have your run. That was your day. Bask in it. It won't last long.
Well, welcome everybody to the first Monday edition of the lives moving forward. It will be Mondays.
Monday Night Fishing, trademarked by me. I'll sell it to you cheap.
Somebody's going to grab that domain tonight.
Monday Night Fishing. If anybody on this stream does it, you're off the stream. How can we do that?
Yeah.
I don't know. How was your trip, man?
Decent. You know, did a little scouting, checked some things out. When I got down to Lake Chickamauga, the water level was about the lowest anybody has seen.
Low. Every
Yeah.
place else in the world's been high.
Well, and we got rain. And so, honestly, was kind of a waste of time and energy.
Oh, why?
Well, I could have done all that exploring, which I have, you know, before I even left the house.
Sure.
You know, I knew cinder blocks were and where the tires were, and you know, I had everything marked in every creek, and I mean, I got 20
cinder blocks
plus
and tires. Oh, because you've been there before.
No, just looking online. You know, I got 20 plus hours of hardcore waypoints and stuff, and so
yep,
I didn't learn a lot. Obviously, the fish is going to change their movements. Things are going to be different in 3 weeks when I head back down there.
Sure.
But the water level came up again, you know, 8 feet the next day after we had so much rain.
That's so
and then
crazy.
It was just muddy. I did fun fish a little bit. I caught them really good on that jackals at TN lipless.
Yeah, TN vibration. Yep.
Yeah, wrecked them really good on some main lake bars.
What'd you throw? The 70?
Yes. No, I guess the bigger size one.
Well, the 70's pretty big.
Okay. Well, I'm not really sure.
Okay. Did you throw the one knocker, Iokin sound? You know, they make models with stones and rocks in them. What'd you buy?
I guess I got the shitty one.
No, I'm just asking if you got a different variation or flavor, man.
I have a bunch.
Anyway, was there a color preference?
Well, listen, if you guys want to learn more about lipless, that's what our next Patreon's going to be, where Eric's probably going to
Clearly, I'll be telling you about them, and Travis will have a few.
Clearly run it, and that's going to be next week Monday, guys. So Patreon next week Monday. You can find all that information, the links. I'm sure Alex will put it up at some point as well. Good. We got a big show tonight.
Sorry, man. One of my creations for the night just stuck me in the elbow. I'm not bleeding. Don't worry. But it is a sharp hook.
Something a little different. We're talking with a follower of the SmallmouthCrush channel. He's been commenting for as many lives as I can remember.
Oh yeah.
And he's got some cool information. So, he's one of those dudes. Well, I shouldn't say it. Not the first person that we brought in. We had Sean.
Yeah, that's right.
Impromptu.
McPhee.
No. From
Was it
Chicago. Remember?
Sean
This was
Lai.
after
he was the
hours.
first, the after hours.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know if Ryan, the co-angler, counted as a viewer too.
You mean Sean?
That's what I meant. McKee. Was he a viewer?
Yes.
So he would have been first. Sean would have been second. Cuda would be third. Was there anybody before?
Although Sean was more of just a
guest.
A guest.
Even though he was a viewer of the show, he was a guest.
Yes.
So we'll count. Yeah. Sean Lai was our first.
TK. Yeah, I guess, you know what? We've had a lot of people. It's been fun. It's been good. I'm excited. We're going to go full throttle moving forward, guys. Every Monday, we are committed. I know we took off last week, and there'll be a few more down the road. I've been off. My game's been off this week. A lot of pressure of time commitments and strains like funneling in and crushing me. Lots of boat building.
There you go.
Issues. I'm going to head up to Bowers tomorrow and hopefully finish a few things off on the boat. Power poles haven't arrived yet. So I got a call in. It looks like they're going to show up. But it is what it is. And guiding starts soon. Next week, actually.
Yeah, you got a full schedule, man.
Mm-hmm.
Full schedule.
Just looking at the comments, a lot of good positive feedback on the Steve Clapper interview. I do want to apologize. I couldn't pull a whole lot of information from the old geezer out. You know what I mean? I meant that in a good way.
You mean the legend, Steve Clapper?
It was hard.
I think what you say when you talk about a man like Steve Clapper to show proper reverence is you say, I couldn't pull much information out of the legend.
The legend.
And maybe that's why he was a legend, because he didn't talk.
Yeah, no, he's a super nice guy. He was really well-spoken. He kind of broke some things down. Old school smallmouth guy. But a lot of good feedback.
I'm sure he had buddies telling him, don't lip it out to Travis because he'll suck all that information like a fishing Dracula. And then
Jones, by the way, we're going to get you on the show someday.
Yeah.
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 Man. So how was your week?
Man, my week was good, man. Went down to Gaston and fished a derby. Had some interesting things happen. Of course, it was right around St. Patty's Day. So as luck would have it, I started out the day catching the first couple. Scooter puts the third in the boat. Then I think he puts the fourth in the boat, which is a big, close to 5. But it was a finesse kind of cranking day extraordinaire. If you had a rattle in your bait, you had a big bait, they were not eating it. All balsa, baby, all balsa. It was totally my kind of fishing, man. Rock and wood. They were in the creeks about midway back, and really interesting bite. Had to worm the crank a lot to get the bites. You guys heard me talk about it before. Reel down, pull, feel the cover, stop, and then the fish would load up. And so on one of these places, I asked Scooter to stop because I'd fished it before. I felt something on the line. It was mushy. It wasn't a bass. I reel it up. I get a little bit of line and a Mega Bass Vision 110 jerkbait, an Elegy bone. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's so awesome. A little bit later, Scooter snags a stump and he likes popping his, trying to loosen the crankbait, get it off, the bone arrow, pop, 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 like the 10th pop. Literally, he's moving towards the stump with the boat. He goes, get the net. The fish ate it as soon as it popped off, a 3-pound spot.
Was it a keeper?
It was a 3-pound spot. Is absolutely a keeper, man. Yeah, so we came in 7th. We did lose a couple that would have probably put us up in the top 3 again. So 2 weeks in a row, key fish are lost. And what are you going to do? It's crankbait fishing. these fish sometimes charge when they eat a bait. It was later in the afternoon, so they had warmed up and they're hot, and they were probably spots, I'm thinking. But he's loaded up, and it's crazy. New hooks too, fresh hooks, man. Anybody out there got an opinion? I maintain that a bronze gamakatsu is way sharper than the NS Black. Bronze gamakatsu versus MS Black. NS Black. Sound off. I'm going with bronze every time. Nothing sharper in my opinion.
That works for me.
Yeah, man. You can't beat a Gami bronze unless you get some of those crazy hooks from Japan, which are unnamed on some of their crankbaits. Holy crap. I don't know what they are, but they're ridiculously sharp. I'd like to know. Anyway, man, that was my week.
And so
it was awesome.
You cashed a check.
Cashed a good check, yeah, because there was I think it was 87 boats. Yeah, just shy of 600. If you count the mega bass, it was 600, man.
Nice.
Yeah, so we got to fish free because we were the points champions for last year in the Bojangles Chicken series. So yeah, man. So it was a no entry fee derby for us. So that was pure profit, which was nice, minus the gas. We ran through about a tank. So yeah, it was great, man. Really enjoyed it. Fun. My kind of day. When you can wind on them all day. And believe me, we threw different baits, but all they wanted was a subtle balsa crankbait. That was it for us. And we went for some big bites, and we employed some different techniques. Main Lake wind was chucking. They should have been biting, snapping. We were winding some bigger baits, and we got a few pushes, but no hookups. So that was it for us, man. That's my kind of day, man. When I can put my balsas to work, I'm stoked. Yeah,
dude, you're probably going to have a pretty good season. You always do.
I hope so, man. I'm looking forward to it because, we came off a great season last year, and it's starting out pretty damn good. And, you're going to lose fish. And when you fish clean, you generally win. So we're knocking on the door early. We're going back to Jordan, which is a notoriously big fish lake. I've never been there. I've been there once with Scooter. That was 2 weeks ago. And he's only fished it a handful of times. So we'll see what we can put together. But, man, with this warm week, the fish may move up. And, if the water rises a little bit and gets back in the bushes, we could be looking at them. That was really stained when we were there last. So I don't know how long a lake like that takes to clear. There's not been a ton of rain. So it could be pretty exciting. You really could have a chance. I don't know what the moon phase is. Who cares? If it's warm enough, they're going to move up. I mean, here we are, late March. It could be a spawn deal. I don't know. So stand by, man. I'm coming with the big baits and, ready to flip and or bed fish. I mean, I'd love to have a shot at a DD. I've never seen a DD on a bed. Have you? I've never seen one on a bed.
I have.
What is your reaction like when you are staring down at what you think is a 10-pound plus fish?
Well,
are you like...
It was the day I broke my personal best 3 times.
Yeah?
Down on some lake in Florida.
Yeah?
I fished, just randomly fished it for a couple hours. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I get in this pocket and I look down and there was a monster sitting there, dude.
Oh, no.
Like biggest bass I ever really seen. I don't know. I threw a 7-inch Senko at it.
Wow.
And wacky rigged. And he just bit, took off into the cattails.
Oh
I had my drag all the way down, 20-pound test line. I couldn't stop it. I saw it. In my mind, I thought it was like 15 pounds.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
what
dude.
the hell?
Like for real. And then I was like, all right, well, that really sucks. That thing had a lot of force to it, right? Didn't expect that type of pull. Wasn't used to it. Wasn't ready, wasn't prepared. So I get settled back in. I move the boat 10 feet. All of a sudden, there's another one.
What?
And this one's like big again. I'm like, damn. All right, let's go. So it wasn't crystal clear either. Okay. It was very
Right.
dark bottom with just light patches.
Yeah. So you're able to see a lot of these.
Yeah. So I throw in, catch that one. And I'm like freaking out. It's 9 pounds. So that was my biggest.
Whoa.
Then shit, 20 feet away from there was another one.
What?
Pitch in my Cinco. He bites. I think it was like 10 and a half.
Oh my God. Is this a tournament?
No,
Oh, you're just fun fishing?
I was by myself.
What? You scaled that fish? Or you're estimating?
No, I put it on a scale.
So
it was
10
one of them. It was, that old green and blue handheld ones that had a gripper right on it. And you just,
Yeah.
So I'm like, dang, okay, that's 2 good fish. I go down another 10 feet. There's another big one.
What?
Cinco it up, 12 on the scale.
Come on, man. You're dreaming.
I'm
then you woke up.
I'm not kidding, dude. So
Did
then,
you take a picture of these fish?
yeah, there's pictures.
What are you going to show them?
I'd have to find them. Yeah.
What do you mean, like Polaroid pictures?
2011. No, there's actually good pictures of them.
Show us the pictures of this epic day.
I met the cameraman because I was down there practicing for an elite.
9, so 20. Now you're up to 31.5 pounds for 3 fish. 10-pound average.
Yes. And then I can't catch any more, and I catch 2 3-pounders the rest of the day. But that's my biggest largemouth bag and my biggest 3 largemouth ever in one day.
So if you're practicing, why would you catch the fish?
It wasn't practice. It was a random lake that I was just bumming around in.
Oh, okay. Got it. So you could burn them. I'm sorry. I thought you were like fishing for a practice on the lake where you're going to fish. You're just out there bumming around on some random lake. Do you know this lake? I mean, do you know what the name of it was? Let's go back.
I wouldn't know the name. I wouldn't know the name. Honestly.
What were you practicing for? So what region were you in?
It was near the James River or St. John's River. Sorry.
St. John's River.
Down a really long dirt road. You go over
I don't know. Anybody out there know?
You go over the bridge and what's that other lake next to St. John's River? That's part of it, but
Rodman Reservoir.
Yeah, you drive over Rodman, you go down another 10, 15, 20 miles maybe.
Okay.
It's on the left-hand side.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What a day.
It was. But there is pictures. I'll get them. Maybe for the next show, I'll show you guys.
Yeah, please. I mean, it should be on your Instagram page to the throwback to the time where you caught 31.5 pounds and 3 fish.
Yeah.
Goofing around. On Lake X in Florida.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. I probably have them here. Let me look. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, you got some doubters now. You're creating a lot of doubt out there. I'm watching the comments with like my left eye. It's my fast eye. Look, watch. You know, everybody has a quick eye. One eye moves faster than the other. Look, do you see that? Watch my eyes for a second. See how my left one's quicker?
I'm looking for the damn picture right now. So
it's called quick eye. I got a quick eye.
The hater's going to hate.
And the ain'ter's going to ain't. Is that how it goes? I think I messed that up.
I feel bad because I put them in the box.
For pictures.
Yeah, I didn't know any better.
Right, I understand.
I would never do it again.
We'll forgive you. It's okay, man. It's okay.
All right, here we go.
It's okay.
I'm gonna show you these 3 fish.
Right on, man.
This was right after the elites. This was the camera guy at the time.
Yeah.
And let me see if I can share this.
And he just happened to be there?
I told him, you come down, Brohim.
At Bo Judd. Who's Bubba J, man? I don't even know who Bubba J is, Bo Judd. But I guess thanks.
There they are.
Those are Jaints, man.
Right?
Those are Jaints.
You see it, right? A 12, a 10, and a 9.
I mean, I guess they look big.
Yeah. Dude, I'm not making up stories. I don't make up fish stories. I tell you what's up.
Yeah, I mean, I would have got a picture with the scale, but that's just me.
Okay.
I mean, I would have, because that's a monster fish. They all look big. It's so hard to judge based on my trip to Florida and the pictures that I would see and Brent would show me, and he'd say, guess the weight. And I was wrong every single time.
Yeah. It was just a cool day, man. It's hard to, whatever. All right. We got stuff to do. It's 8:20. Let's get into it.
Do it.
We definitely have to talk about the Real Shot tackle tip of the week, just like we do.
Roll the commercial, man.
Every
friggin' week.
Time.
Roll it.
You guys know the drill. 15% off Smallmouth Crush. 15. What are we talking about?
The shad.
We're talking about the Berkeley Bad Shad.
That would be a bait to throw right now.
It would. And this is the color.
Did you catch a few down there at Chickamauga?
Not cranking. Not cranking. I definitely would start throwing this anywhere. I mean, this is going to be a smallmouth killer. Okay. So I love a series, a Shad Rap size 5. Yes, I agree. But I'm just saying, it reminds me a lot of the Shad Rap size 5, and that's what it's designed to imitate, right?
That's right.
It's just Berkeley's version of it. But as we know, and talking with Eric, every crankbait has a different, sound, different vibration, different reason, different time of the year, different, all that. But this is a cold water crankbait. It's going to run, I'm guessing. Like I said, I don't have experience with this, but I'm excited about the color lineup. I do like the paint jobs on them.
That's a spring crawl.
I'm a fan of these types of crankbaits, Shad Rap style crankbaits, in the spring and fall. Berkeley Flicker Shad. I don't know if you've ever messed with that, Eric, but that is a killer.
You throw them a lot.
I have. And so I'm just assuming that this is going to get the job done as well. Reasonably priced.
How does it vary? Like, what's the difference between that and the Flicker Shad? Flicker Shad's thinner.
Thinner, yes. A Flicker Shad's thinner. This is going to have a little bit, it's a wider body. It's got a little knocker, so is the Flickers.
Yeah. Is it a low knock?
Sounds like it. Real high tick, actually. Not really a low, but
it's got more than one BB in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
does it cast good?
It'll cast, actually, just judging by, it's going to cast a little bit better than a Shad Rap. However, it's still, especially this size, this is a size 5. It's going to be something you're going to want to throw on a spinning rod. I mean, just for ease of use and to really work it. Let me know in the comments if any of you guys. We might have a special guest coming up here, by the way. A little sneak peek here.
Nice.
But yeah, no, cool bait. And the Real Shot wanted me to talk to you guys about that. They do have a bunch on their website. You can head on over there, get all your tackle needs for 15% off if you take advantage of that. If you like, I'm certainly gonna try it a little bit this year for sure.
Yeah, if you're a Fritz side guy, that's a great compliment because the Fritz side obviously is a much bigger profile. That thin-bodied profile, especially when that water temp, like right now, that's a heck of a bait. If you're not throwing a Shad Rap, throw that one. Yep,
I agree.
Shad Raps can be very hard to throw. They're tumbly baits, they're twirly baits. They do catch them for sure, but some guys just don't want to throw balsam, man. They don't want to take care of it. You know, if you got the green slime on the bottom or the black snot, people want to like smack their baits on the water. You can do that with that bait, but you can't do it with a balsa bait because you're going to break it for sure. It's just silly to smack balsa baits around. So, and you could throw that on a bait caster. I'd step down to 8 on some of those. 10.
You could throw. You would throw that on the bait caster or try?
100%. It just depends.
Okay.
Can you just tell me what the weight of it is, and I'll tell you whether I do it. Is it a 1/4 ounce?
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine here.
Does it say grams? Does it say something on it? It's got to say the weight. Up top, right?
8 grams.
Okay, for all you math experts out there, what's 8 grams? I got that written. I have the conversion.
By the way,
do that?
slow rise.
That's the important point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I step up my hooks on my shad wraps, right? Number 5, I go to number 5 gummies, and my number 6 shad wrap, I'll go to a number 4 gummy, and that thing just sits there and almost slowly sinks. And that's part of the magic in the spring. You want to make sure that bait's not high float, stays in the strike zone, because those fish are on the bottom. Especially look at the fish's belly; they might be muddy.
This bait is not a slow rise; it's a shad wrap rise. So you're going to have to doctor it up if you want to keep it down there and not have as much movement. So
lead strips, lead tape, man.
Out of the package, I mean, I throw these in the summer as well. Don't get me wrong, especially for smallmouth. And that's fine straight out of the package. But if you're fishing cold water, it says slow rise, but it's literally like this. Okay.
Yeah, it's a 1/4 ounce. So if you stepped up the trebles on that, you'd add a little bit more weight. You could do a beefier split ring if you wanted to. Throw a little lead on the belly, keep the hooks the same. Lots of ways to weight a shad style bait like that to get it to slow rise and or suspend, and or do not sleep on this. Slowly sink is not a bad thing. When I say slowly sink, it's like this.
Huh.
Those shad die off in the fall sometimes when it gets super uber cold, or even in the early spring. If you get a cold shock, the shad will be doing this. And so that bait is staying on the bottom. Like you're worming it. So you're reeling it, you're hitting the cover, you're dragging the rod until you contact a rock, and then you stop. And then you go to engage, drag again as you reel up the slack, drag again, and that's when they're on it. These fish just appear. It'll feel like a mushy feeling, and then all of a sudden the fish loads up. That's exactly how those fish bit for me this past weekend in 49 to 51 degree water. Every single bite was the same. Crazy. I lost a good one on a shaky jig worm too from the Bass Lab. I'm so pissed.
Did you?
Dude, he hit it like a jig. You know the jig bite you get when your rod goes twing. Dude, there was water coming through this pinch point through my shaky jig up there, man. I know I ticked a rock. I think I had a freaking abrasion. Didn't check the line. Fired it back out there, man. Pulled it over some rocks in about 8 foot. And, dude, I was just shaking it there. I mean, he slammed it. I put a robo worm on the back in a red craw color. Oh, God, Travis. I loaded up, and the fish pulled, and it went ping.
Oh man!
Oh, dude, I cost us many, many points and $500 with that one. That you know when you get a big fish bite, and you know when they pull, because he was going the other way with drag, and I couldn't turn the fish.
Well, hey, here's a guy who hasn't caught a fish in years. Welcome, Big
Jimmy, Big Time,
Frank Jimmy.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Coming at you live from the Lewis, Delaware Hilton.
You're at the Hilton today.
I'm always in the Hilton, dog. I'm a player.
Hey, Jimmy, I'm going to need some of those points for setting this up. So don't,
What's up, Alex? What's up, Ken? What's up, Cuda? Man, look at all these guys. I love them all. Waves, what's up? In the current.
What's he got?
What, me?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
He's just
he's just saying hi. No big announcement.
Man, I ain't been on this show in a while, dog. I can't talk real loud because I'm in a hotel.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, what were you doing?
What's
Changing
up,
the
Warren
channel?
County Dash, my man.
Jimmy 8-Ball.
Hello, Brendan, what's up, boys, girls?
I like Jimmy 8-Ball.
You like my answer? You said what's 8 grams? I said 3 8-balls. I'm from Philly, bro. Oh man,
it's good to lot of confusion, over the last couple months. Jimmy, people didn't know if you were mad at me.
I love you, man.
Talking, yeah.
You know that, dog. You're a dick, but I love you. Sorry. I just love being on this show because you have the best people.
We do.
Sarah, what's up, man? Jimmy 2 times he called me. I love it. I gotta get my own show someday when I grow up.
Yeah, you gotta do something.
Eric,
he's
what's
doing
up,
something.
buddy? Eric,
What's going on, JBT?
I think I got a date with you soon.
I hope so, man. Is that gonna be possible?
Yeah, we're gonna work it out, dog. Jimmy, hey,
Good,
what's
man.
up, Wild Bill, my man?
Are you going to try to fish this year, Jimmy?
Yes. I have
Yes?
a lot on schedule already.
You got the Triton out of the shop and ready to go?
There is. She's ready to roll, baby. 1998, ready to go.
It's a
Squirrel
98.
proof and everything.
Oh, it ain't a 98.
Oh, man.
I just cussed. I'm sorry. I'm trying to clean my act up a little bit.
Yeah, you look good,
Hey,
man. You
Marty,
look
what's
fresh.
up?
I mean, you got a haircut, dude?
I got tightened up. Yeah, what do
Hey.
you mean Steve said I moved to a new cell? Oh, shit. I'm locked up in this room.
Jimmy, Jimmy came
Yes.
over to my house a couple weeks ago and we made a bilge pump for me. A spare, like a emergency bilge pump.
I gotta say one thing real quick, Carl. They're coming at you live soon. Hang in there. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So, but thank you for that.
Brendan says 3.5 is actually an 8-ball. My man. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I get excited with all these people, dude.
I know.
I love it.
It's
Love it.
overwhelming. No,
It
we just
is.
wanted to say hi, Jimmy, bring you on real quick.
Yeah.
We got a killer show coming up. We're going to get into bait modifications, some crazy stuff. Eric's going to have a field day tonight. Guaranteed. This stuff's going to blow your mind. I don't know how it can get any better. Seems like every week it's been crazy.
If you had me on every week, it'd be a lot better.
Yeah, could be.
I'm just saying. I'm not as interesting as the rest of your guests. They all got their shit together.
Right. Well, we do have a somewhat cool announcement that we want to bring with you, that we want to share with everybody. Big time baits.
They're on their way.
Let's talk about it, dude.
Well, Jason, big crank. It's
I can talk about it a little bit.
Eric is playing a big part of it in color selection.
And
I got some really awesome custom molds that I had done, and a lot of hand pour stuff, and it's going to help me get back in the industry because I really missed it. I've been out a while, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we'll definitely have you. We're going to have a show devoted to big time Jimmy Bates, or whatever you want to call it.
And by the way, we will have, Brendan, 2 different French fry centipedes. 2, that is, not 1, 2 different ones. A hand poured and another hand poured. Super sweet.
Yeah, man. And dude, tell them about the time we talked for 2 hours. Literally, I almost crashed because I was crying, laughing in my car. We were coming up with the names.
I think I had a stroke.
Jimmy goes, I got to stop right now. You had a headache for like an hour and a half.
It was horrible.
But it was the best thing ever.
Eric came up with a name for my little finesse bait. It's a little 4-inch. It's identical to the Zoom, but the color selection is going to be off the chart because it's not going to be. We're going to bring back some old school stuff, Travis, and also do some really cool things. You know what I mean? But
okay.
The funny thing is that the bait's name, we talked about thinking of having it like big time, like,
Showtime,
famous and stuff,
movies,
right?
Yeah,
movies and stuff, right? So Eric said, I got it. He said, Uncle Finester, like Uncle Fester, Uncle Finester. I almost pooped my pants.
The Uncle Finester, I love it.
What's up, them jigs?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was the best one ever, dude. That was classic. But just so you know, Eric's playing a big part of it. We're doing some what are we gonna do, Eric? Some
laminate
colors. Laminates. Yep.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of laminates, man.
We got some big swim baits, hand poured 6-inch coming, and we got the Kitech type hand poured, but they're not machine, they're hand poured. Then we have a smaller version of that 6 coming out too. So there's some really nice stuff, and we'll have some things. We'll do some giveaways, and hopefully you guys will love them. I hope.
Yeah, he's formulating the plastics. I mean, he's using top end plastics, formulating the stuff that I want for my fishing needs, because it's really hard to get custom baits poured the way you want. But Jimmy Jimmy will do a test. He'll show me. I go, you nailed the color. It's the flake that I want. It's the combinations that I want. It's stuff you can't find anywhere. So it's really cool, man. So there'll be some Bass Lab approved colors rolling, man. I love it.
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
Damn right, bro.
And Travis, I appreciate you even bringing it up because I'm not, I'm really.
Yeah. When I first found out about your new bait company, I made a comment on Instagram, and I think you took it the wrong way.
Yeah, I wanted to rip your ass apart.
All I said was, "Oh, great! I got to put another sticker on my truck." Boy, Jimmy took it the wrong way.
Brendan, just let me answer this question real quick, and we'll talk about that for a second before I leave. Brendan, I have a secret. I call it the secret stank sauce, which is what is in every worm bag. So I don't know what the question was about scents. If you have some, let me know. If you make them, or let me know. I'm open to suggestions. So about that deal with you, did you tell him why I got mad?
He thought it meant you're wrapping your boat in big time Jimmy, your 2001 Triton, and I was just
not an 01.
You know what I mean?
It's as nice as yours, and yours is new. Okay, but no. So I'm like, oh, this dude is flipping out stickers. I'm like, dude, I don't have any stickers on my boat. I took them all off, and I wrote "F you, Travis." When I texted him.
But we're fine.
Like, then I felt so bad because, believe it or not, he didn't mean it. And I really, because he usually says something shitty about me anyway. So I took it the wrong way. And I really got jerked off. Huh?
That's
but
just
I
Travis.
apologize. I apologize, Travis. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
That was nice of Jimmy big time to apologize. You guys are in and out, but Jimmy's got a big heart. And Travis, you've been on thin ice a couple times, man, like under the ice, knocking on the door. And I've helped you get back in. You don't know what goes on behind the scenes. The conversation.
I hear about it. I hear about it.
I wish I could answer all these questions.
I know, dude, it's crazy.
Can I make a comment real quick about one? Nate Summers said it's going to be hard to beat the Nico stuff. That's not my market.
Right.
The Nico stuff isn't my market. It's not. I love tournament guys. I love. And I love bass fishermen and smallmouth, largemouth, but my market is going to be to everybody. I mean, like, I'm going to make baits that people catch fish on, and they don't have to spend a whole bunch of money. They're going to be priced really fair. And so I don't think I could even compete with a company like Nico. I mean, people are always going to buy plastic baits. They're going to,
It's true. That's very true.
The plastisol I use is, believe it or not, the plastisol that we use, Eric. It's good. It's top notch. It's got a lot of things that other ones don't that are safe. Yeah, which is cool. Yeah,
it's very good. It's quality.
Sorry,
quality,
man. Travis.
No, and I think there's room for everybody, man. It's just different color combos you can't get in different company baits, and so there's Tidal River specialties that aren't made by that company. So there's plenty of room.
Yeah, and Travis made a statement to me today, which he was right. He said, "Well, you're going to be 3 years to get your money back." Well, that's okay. I made the investment because when I'm not home, I'm working in the crab lab and I'm making baits, and it's fun. And it really is with new colors. And listen, I'm not doing this to get rich because it ain't going to happen.
Right, Jimmy and I talked about better ways to spend his time because when he was listening to the same channels you listen to, Travis, and he goes, "I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore." And he woke up angry and he went to bed angry every night. And I said, dude, invest in yourself and your future and your spirit and your soul. And let's do your thing, man. Make some baits. You used to do it. He had hammer dog jigs. He loved doing it. It got him in the business around fishermen. Man, tell me how your spirit is the last 2 weeks. You've had the best time.
Man. I'm excited, man. My wife, I'm like a new man. I mean, I haven't been excited about fishing. I mean, and it's not just about the tournament. I got burnt, man. I was so stressed, Travis, and you probably feel this. When I was fishing those bigger events, and I say bigger, I'm talking $1,500, $1,600 events. I never fished anything bigger, but I was on meltdown mode every event. I was in meltdown mode, and I just wasn't having fun anymore. I was fishing 30, 40, 50 tournaments a year every week all through the winter. Eric, what I used to do, it was crazy.
Oh, dude,
You know?
Jimmy. I mean, we practiced for a couple tournaments, man. I could just see the stress level go up and stuff, man. So when the joy, everybody
Thanks,
talks
Nick.
about, finding happiness in life, but Will at Gajo Bates said something to me that really struck me, and it stays with me right now. And we've had some really good, deep conversations. He's a really soulful guy. I love Will from Gajo Bates, man. And what he talked about was, happiness is unattainable for a lot of people. But finding moments of joy in your life, moments of joy is attainable for everybody. And when I talk to Jimmy, that's what I get out of life. It's joyful. I'm happy for you that you started a company. I'm happy for you that your spirit's raised. You're getting back. You're interacting with the people on the stream because the fans are awesome.
Oh my God, you got great
you know
fans.
what?
I always said that.
Hey, man, I'll tell you what. In life, I heard somebody else give me the best business advice ever. They said, help people, have fun, money happens. Help
Eric,
people,
you've given
have
me
fun, money happens.
You've given me the best advice personally and in business and as a friend. And that's why we've stayed friends for as long as we have. Travis, on the other hand, but I mean, like, no, I'm joking, but I'm kidding, Steve. I love you, man. You know that. But
Yes.
you know what? Somebody just made a really good point, and it's, Bates for the working man. Promise you guys one thing: they will not be overpriced. I promise you that.
Yeah, good deal, man. Good deal. And the thing I'm excited about is, like, I grew up on the Potomac, right? That's my home river. Now the Chesapeake Bay.
Oops.
Cut my teeth. I mean, really did a pond fishing as a kid, but the boat got me to the river. And so I consider myself a river rat. And there's some old school colors, old school baits. And, we're going to bring back some tidal water specialty colors and baits that, guys, they still catch them. And it's
Delaware River, Chesapeake Bay, Potomac River. They're all the same colors.
Very true. And guess what? Same thing down in the other North Carolina waters as well.
I know.
So
I know.
There's gonna be some good specialty colors and a couple new colors of combination laminates that weren't available back in the day, but they blend the best of. I'll just wait and see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, everybody see. Listen, you guys, I appreciate all the comments. I wish I could say thank you to everybody. I can say thanks to everybody. You guys are the best when I tell you, group of people that I've ever seen on the live stream. Travis has done a remarkable job. Seriously, as much as I break his balls, Eric is stellar when it comes to knowledge. He outweighs Travis's knowledge by 30 to 1. As far as I'm breaking his stuff.
He's the smallmouth king.
No, I have a ton of respect for that man.
Smallmouth. He's
Travis,
awesome, man.
Travis has always been good to me. Seriously, but I just want to say thanks, Eric, for having me, Travis. I appreciate the plug. I really do.
Yeah, for
Travis,
sure.
Are you polishing a crankbait?
What are you
doing? Who are saying things I can't respond, guys. I really appreciate all the love. You don't even know, guys. And soon we'll be, getting them out. I'm already making them, so we'll be getting them out as soon as we can, guys. Thank you.
That's awesome,
perfect,
man. Stoked for you, Jimmy.
Let's have you met Alex yet, Jimmy?
Let me see him.
Yo.
There he is. What's up, dog?
Jimmy? Good. How you been?
I met Alex before, didn't I, Alex?
I'm sure we have one of those times. It's been a lot of late night shows. They all just run together now.
Yeah. I'm pretty much really important in the fishing world now.
Oh, I can tell. Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm a legend in my own mind. Trust me.
Yes.
Best fisherman you ever met.
Yeah, not really. I've won 1 or 2 in my life, right, Eric?
Yeah, you have, man. Dude, when I started, so I knew Jimmy for a while, and then I started researching Jimmy and his bass fishing career, and I started sending him photos of like wins and these crazy stats. He dominated. The dude was a freight train on the Delanora, man. I mean, it's one of those guys when he showed up, people would be like, damn, Jimmy's here. And there's a couple anglers like that, right? That are always a threat to win.
Yeah.
I mean, dude,
I remember
you could wrestle a little bit back in the day. You got game, dude. You got game.
A little bit, right? Wrestled a little bit until I was 35 years old, just a little bit.
Dude, that's unbelievable, man. That's like a fox catcher, but better.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Travis,
you
is
were
that
a
how you,
national champion, right? You were a national
Yes,
champion, right?
In Greco-Roman, yes.
So you're talking to a guy. I think anybody that achieves that level in any sport has the drive and motivation in their life to do something great. And to achieve that one time and then do it again in fishing, and then to do it at Kirby, you were a rock star there.
Oh, that's right.
And then
I bought a Kirby from him.
Yeah, you did.
I got a Kirby. I got a
Yeah.
Kirby from him. Yeah, man.
Yep.
So yeah, man. Max is using the hose over on the shop vac, by the way.
That's okay.
No, it's good. Yeah, he's making his little fingerboards, man. We got all sorts of creative stuff going around this house, man. Heck yeah.
I don't have a web page yet. People are asking, and I will get the Facebook and the Instagram going first. So
yeah,
and I'll put colors and baits and stuff on there, and you guys can inbox me, whatever. And I'm probably going to put a limit on the amount right now because I've already got quite a few orders that I'm filling, pre-launch type of thing.
Yeah.
So as soon as Travis, we get it go, I'll let you know, and I'm sure Travis will help me out and give you guys the info. If you follow me on Instagram, I'll put it on there, or Facebook. I'm cool with that. I appreciate it.
Right on, man.
Absolutely, man. Cool.
Yes.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you. Greco-Roman is tough. Yes, it is, Jason. Can't touch the legs. It's all from the waist up.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. So, Travis, how you doing? Welcome to my show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm just chilling.
Alex, you work for me now, sir.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. I'm kind of unhappy with just the way some of my little side hustles are going. I just don't get the best feedback from some of my bosses. So I was looking for another avenue.
I love you already because I love your banner.
Thank you.
I love the shirt you're wearing. I'll be up on YouTube real soon. I'm going to need an intern.
You know how to find me.
And by the way, this is the classic Jimmy Big Time look.
Got it.
Jimmy, I already hired him for my future YouTube channel. So Alex, you'll be working at SmallmouthCrush, Jimmy Big Time Baits, the Bass Lab, and the Bass University. That's one hell of a resume.
I think I can handle it. I enjoy doing it, and I'm just glad to get out of Smallmouth Crush land. I think Jimmy Big Time Baits is going to have just a bigger.
I'll shut this thing down right now.
And by the way, Alex, whatever he's paying you, I'll triple it.
That would be hard.
$0, Jimmy. It's a bargain.
Oh shit!
I'm kidding. No,
he will work for baits.
I do.
Alex, I got you guys. Don't worry, I got you, and I got everybody out there. Seriously,
he will work for baits. He will work for baits.
Nah, we're all messing around. I like working here. It's a great time. But while we're kind of on the topic of getting under Travis's skin, I couldn't pass this comment up. So I know Eric was kind of talking about how, when Jimmy showed up to the ramp, people are going to be like, oh shit, this guy's here. But Travis, I just want to ask you, is that how you feel when you see Riz pull up to the boat ramp for those Chesapeake Bay tournaments?
No. You know who I
Alex, I used to have that same deal. I used to be okay on the bay as well, but I lost it.
I say shit when Centaur's there, Wilder.
Come on, dude.
Lenore, dude.
They're only human beings.
Yeah, but they know how to catch them.
Of course they do.
They do. They do.
Here's the deal, Travis. We were catching you got to say you were shitting yellow. Trust me.
That's true. That's true.
30 years I've been fishing that bay.
Travis, they put their time in too, man. And so do you, now that you're guiding. So you know what? You can compete with them.
You know you can. You're just playing it.
I'm just saying.
I've seen some of the bags you've caught on the bay.
Sometimes things go my way. Well, listen, Jimmy, I know you got to go feed some chickens later and stuff like that. We're going to let you get going.
All right. I want to just say again, thank you guys. Thanks for all the Yahoo Raz, and don't worry, guys, they're coming and we'll take care of you. And I wish I could just say thank you to everyone who made comments. I can't really respond because Travis won't let me because we've taken the show over, me, Alex, and Eric. It is now, Alex, you're in charge, sir. So you get rid of whichever one of these three you want, and then we'll take it from there. Now, listen, thanks a lot, guys. Eric, I'll talk to you later. Thank you, people. God bless you. See you.
See you.
See you, Jimmy. All righty, yeah. A little behind schedule, but you ready to bring on the Cuda, Travis?
Yeah, let's do it.
All righty.
Everybody.
Without further ado.
Yo!
What's up, Cuda?
SmallmouthCrush live.
Cuda in the house.
What's happening, folks?
Man.
How is everyone?
Excited. You've been doing a lot of teasing on the Instagram all week.
Buddy,
yeah.
you're off fishing in the Midwest, and I'm doing all your promotion.
I know, right? I know.
That's okay.
Listen, I got the phone call at 5 o'clock tonight.
Yeah,
from Eric.
I called him. I'm like, dude, you got to show. You even going to post something?
You going to post something tonight? I'm like, I'm kind of in the middle of something right now.
I've been posting all week, my friend.
Well, I have a extension cord. It's really dirty and it's yellow and it just bothers me. And I don't want to buy a new one. So I got a bunch of soap and then some magic erasers, and I'm doing 100-foot. Yeah, that's what I was doing at 5 o'clock tonight.
My God, man.
Trying to make my extension cord look nice.
You've actually lost it.
This is
what in the absolute place? Dude, no wonder you feel busy when you're doing things like that. I don't know. It is what it is.
So as the new guy on the stream, I can't say the same things as I usually say in chat, cracking jokes and stuff, because I have to make it more than 10 minutes here.
Yeah.
Before I get shown the door, right?
He has the power.
We haven't done that in a long, long time.
We haven't, man. We used to do that a lot, actually. That's pretty funny, man. I've had some pretty good outros in my day.
A few.
Oh, that Vic.
A few.
You've had some pretty damn good ones too. Pushing the button, the red button. Boom.
That's when he ends the stream.
Yeah. So, Travis, are you done cleaning your crankbaits? We getting ready to go. All right, let's do it, man.
Well, Cuda, I'm going to let you talk and kind of introduce yourself, a little bit of background on what you're up to, and let's talk bait modification for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, here's the thing. Look at Jimmy's in chat finally, I see. So I'm an old school classic river rat. I chase smallmouth. I wade. I've been doing that for a long time. And I've been making skirted jigs and pouring jigs for the last 20 plus years.
Wow.
But like where I really cut my teeth, outside of fishing ponds and the river and everything is, the Chicago guys. There's a lot of good sticks in Chicago that taught me how to fish Lake Michigan and just hammers. Even back in the day, my mentor, the guy that showed me everything I, know about, fishing the southern end of Lake Michigan, Eddie Bone. He was part of bringing the classic to Chicago back in the day, despite how disappointing the bags were, right? But
did Woo Daves win that?
Yeah, I think Woo won that. I know some of the Chicago guys are in some of the old school guys are in chat here too, so they could comment. But I think it was Woo.
Yeah. And
you have to understand, in 2000, the bags were, there were big fish, but they were not like what they are now. And I mean, I don't know what year it was when we started to see the gobies and everything like that. But, as the water started cleaning up, see, when you get down by Chicago and like Indiana, there's clear water, but it's not as clear as it is when you head up north towards like Door County and stuff like that. So, I mean, and for us, we're fishing chunk rock and rebar, so that's kind of my background and my history. And, and on the jig end, so I've been pouring jigs and making skirted jigs for the last 20 years. And
it's incredible.
Yeah. And like you get to that point. So back in the day, it was all like single colors, and they would add like some sparkle, and then they came out with the barbed wire and all these different styled skirts. And nowadays, like if you go on a lot of places, they'll actually have these skirts pre-made for you.
Yeah.
And for me, that's just not my jam. Like I'm old school, and I was taught to make skirted jigs by using quarter tabs, half tabs, and putting those together to kind of get the color and flow. When I say flow, there's two types of flow. Flow, I mean color flow. Like you want things to go together. and there's different styles, you know, and like for me, I would describe myself as more, when I make skirted jigs, I describe myself more as like in the green pumpkin world. So with watermelons, any type of copper flex, all those different types of things, you can introduce some browns, some smokes, but mostly in the green world, you know. And there's other jig designers out there that you'll see now that make some fantastic and really cool stuff. But it's just got a different style, you know, like it's got more color punch and separation.
Yeah.
And that all has its place. But my big thing is you should have a style. You know, jigs look cool. You guys know how this is. We go to the fishing store and we buy stuff, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, you there's a soul and a color that should speak to you when you look at a jig. And when you want it to look like something, you want it to look like something. And so you should make it that way.
That's right.
You know, for me, you know, I've been using do it molds for, you know, ever since I learned how to pour jigs back in the day.
What was the moment that you go, I'm gonna make my own jig? I'm buying a do it mold and I'm gonna pour my own. What was that moment and why?
So kind of
like how old were you, dude? I gotta know. Tell me the story. This is huge.
48 years old now. So
Yep.
I've been making jigs since my, you know, later 20s.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, a buddy of mine from work knew a guy that owned like a real small little shop, but this guy used to make jigs. And it was just everything you can imagine about old school jig making, right? And then of course my Chicago guys, like they, you know, the Nega guys, I saw Carlos pop in the chat earlier, Eddie Bone, all these guys, they were part of a group back in the day called the Bass and Bandits in the Pinkowskis. Jeremy might be in the room, right? These guys, so cool. They were pouring jigs, you know, and I, you know, I didn't know what an RHB 7A was, which is a ball head jig mold and probably the most iconic jig mold there is out there, right? It's just, there's not a thing I can't do with a ball head jig.
Dude. Right?
You know, so
simplest and most effective still to this day.
Yeah, so you start simple and you just kind of got introduced to it, you know, and recently, you know, my relationship with Do It Molds has changed quite a bit. But I'll tell you this, you know, this is not me chasing something. This is at the end of the day, I rep what I love and I rep what works. And I've been doing it for 20 years. And you know, and that's why I'm proud to kind of put some things out there for them. And you know, that's the jig world and that's the skirted jig world.
Yeah, that's why you tie in green pumpkin, because is there arguably a better color that catches fish everywhere, any species, any time of the year than green pumpkin? Name
you know,
it.
Travis knows this, and I don't want to go off in another direction, but if there were two baits that I would have on, like I don't care what time of year, if I was going out in big water and chasing smallies, it would be a green pumpkin, Fat Albert grub, and a green pumpkin
zoom
and a green pumpkin tube. And you know, I don't think I've ever been anywhere where I couldn't catch something on a tube. And I brought up tubes, and that's a whole nother jam for me. You know, just as a smallmouth guy in the South End, but I mean. And I tell these things because I want people to understand where I'm coming from. You know, like, so what my history is, because to be honest with you, I'm not making a crazy amount of skirted jigs lately. Tim Maynard, hey, thank you, brother. I see him talking in chat. Guys, I'm catching the chat a little bit here because I'm getting used to being on. So, but that's my story. And, you know, that's kind of where I come from. So that's what's got me to where I'm at today.
That's cool, man. You caught my attention because I got out of bass fishing. Not really. I mean, I stayed in it, but I really got heavy into fly fishing in the salt and fresh. And so, you know, the vice came in the house, the fur and feather, the synthetics came in the house, the concept of flow, how to stack material, you know, yeah, brother, that's what I'm talking about. Right. And then, you know, you start to look at a chatterbait differently, going, what if you put a little fur and feather on a chatterbait and you made a chatter leash, you know? And then I'm like, what if you took a drop shot and you made a drop shot fly that just wouldn't wear out? and you took this little funky tail, and that spoke to me when I started to see your stuff. I'm going, Travis, we got to have this guy on, man. You know, it's a fellow tire, but like totally into the smallmouth. We're pouring his own stuff, and so I'm stoked to hear about, like, you know, are you a Gamakatsu fan?
You know, I am. But here's the thing. I'm going to tell you this. I'm a Gamakatsu fan because they're sticky, right? But it's funny. I had a conversation with my buddy the other day, and he's probably watching right now too. And this guy is an absolute hammer on a river south of Chicago for chasing walleye. And we laughed because the thing is, when we fish that particular river, we purposely throw eagle claws. And the reason we throw,
because of the snags.
And Travis hit it right there. An eagle claw will actually tell you that as to why they use it. So I've been using eagle claws when I make little 8th or 16th ounce ball heads for weight in the river. But we fish some snaggy stuff for walleye, right? So it's kind of funny that, you know, those eagle claw will tell you our hooks will bend out and you bend them right back, and they hold up. And so, am I a Gamakatsu guy? Yeah, I'm a Gamakatsu guy. I like I'll use owners. You know, I'm kind of excited.
Sure.
I'm kind of excited to try out. You know, there's a new hook out there. You know, Victory hooks, which is, you know, I haven't used them yet, but here's the deal with these guys. So with Victory, you know, they have a guy that used to be with Mustad, a guy that used to be with Matsu, or however you say that name, right?
Matsuo.
Yeah, Matsuo. So, you know, I'm interested to try them out. You know, we'll see what happens. But I mean, at the end of the day, most of the jig molds, you know, for Do It, which is, you know, the stuff I pour and make, they're designed for the older stuff was designed for eagle claws, but a lot of new stuff you can use Gamakatsu stuff. Some of the owner 5318s are another great hook that is used a lot on most of the branded Midwest finesse heads that you'll find companies use, right? So yeah, Bo Judge is a great tip for fishing snaggy cover, right? See, and you got to understand, most of, you know, snaggy cover, it works really well with rock, but once you get to you know, wood, there's no stopping wood.
That's wild, man. That's the finer point of, like, just the little details that, you know, when you're really into fishing, choosing the hook and for a reason. That's really cool, man.
Right. I mean, and you know, like when I'm trying to make cool stuff and jazz it up. Hey, listen, I'll tell you something right now. I don't paint most of the things I pour. If I'm fishing plastics, I don't care about the color of the ball head. I could care less. But when I'm making fancy, right? When I'm making fancy, right?
Nice.
Like this, I want to jazz it up, right?
Yeah, big eye, baby.
You know, I dig that. I think maybe because I just haven't fished as much anymore, but now I'm just like
sexy shad, man. That's
I agree. I'm totally on board with that. It doesn't faze me one bit as far as my jig heads go. As far as color, it looks great. I appreciate a nice paint job, but I'm not offended if my baits don't have one.
All right, I'm going to tell you a story about a fisherman that you mentioned earlier in the stream. I won't name his name. He swore that he got his ass kicked on multiple occasions by a jig. This is a bass largemouth jig, flipping jig. I won't name the jig because I'll keep the secret. But it had a huge eye on this flipping jig. Nobody makes one. And he swore he got outfished 5-1. And he was in the front, the dude's in the back.
By the guy throwing the jig with the big eye.
Mm-hmm. Nobody makes a jig like this now.
Yeah. I will max out the eye on so I showed you the jig a second ago. So this is I'll just keep showing the same one. So this basically is a dual molds freestyle jig. Okay.
Sexy as hell.
So basically, if I turn it,
it's like an aspirin head, right?
it's like a fat-bodied aspirin. I'm sorry to getting used to the camera, right?
No, you're
It's
good.
like-
You're good. You're good.
It's like a fat-bodied aspirin. So an aspirin will be a little more pinched. But the deal is, so there's a recession for the eye, right?
Love it.
And I got to tell you, like I am maxing out the size eyes that I could get in here.
Hell
And
yeah,
Sure.
dude.
This is an 1/8 ounce, and I'm pouring these with 2 Gamakatsus.
Phew, love it.
I could get owners in here. I could get, a lot of other jigs, but to be honest with you, this is like a finesse jig, right? And I know we'll talk probably more about this, but when it comes to finesse jigs, I mean, we could just close the stream down in a second and just say that it's a black marabou hair jig and just talk about all the money that's won out there in tournaments, right?
Travis showed me the power of it one day. Slick, high sun.
It's another level,
It's
right?
crazy.
It's another level. And the thing is, so, you hit on this a little bit ago, Eric, and I have to say this because I don't want to forget about this point. And this is extremely important. So hair, right, or feather, there are different benefits to using these things. And I say this because on your sneaky little, not that black one you showed, right? But there's another one where you have it tied in front with a couple of silicone skirts.
Yeah.
And you've got slopping. And so for anyone in chat that doesn't know what slopping is, basically slopping is like a feather. Okay.
That's it right there. That's the shaky jig worm.
And when you wrap the feather around the shank of the hook, it's called palmering.
Yep.
Right. It creates this webby little, like, it almost looks like a lion's mane, like around there. You go. Put that closer, Eric. So that so that's going to do a couple of things, right? One, you've got this webby type of buggy looking stuff hanging out of this jig. But the other thing is when you use feathers and stuff like that, and it's wide, it's going to help cause volume or push water, right? So you're going to get some resistance in the water that's just a little different than, like something where I'm going for a sleek profile.
Yep.
Right. This goes in the water, and I'll talk about that in a while of how you create more volume with what you're making, or a traditional hair jig. So a traditional marabou hair jig looks big and puffy, and you throw it in the water, and it looks as narrow as you could get, right?
It's crazy, right?
And then when you stop it, pause it, or shift levels, it undulates. But the thing is, the fly guys out there will tell you, and there's a lot of good ones. Gunnar Brammer, he's just an absolute beast. Gunnar Brammer, he's a fly tie guy. He just makes some amazing stuff, and he says a lot of things, and he ties streamers. So basically, like longer material on jigs, which makes everything he talks about extremely valuable for anyone that wants to put hair or a synthetic material on a bass jig. Gunnar Brammer.
Very true. Very true. Good tip, Cuda.
And he talks about profile and like volume, right? And how those two things push water. So now you get into style, right? Go ahead, Eric. You were going to say?
No, I think it's a great tip, man. What you're talking about, flow, volume, how it pushes water, how you stack material. I mean, you're borrowing from the fly tying world. Right. And that's where a lot of my inspiration comes from. So keep rolling, man. This is a great point.
So when you see me, I'll pull it out now.
You got
to. When you see me pull things like this out, right? This same thing, freestyle. To be honest with you, if it wasn't a regular round ball head jig, I would just take the freestyle jig mold and just, even if you don't have a lead pot at home, buy one. Buy the freestyle jig mold because your friend might have a pot and you should make it. It's just fun to mess around with. But the thing is, this is where the style thing comes in, right? So the ones I'm showing, those are streamers. So DEM jigs. No, I'm not selling jigs. Maybe someday, right? But just enjoying putting things out there. I want people to create cool stuff, right? So my style is creating streamer styled bass jigs, right? There's another guy that has a YouTube page. Not a lot of followers, but I'm going to tell you something. He makes bass jigs, he makes some crappie jigs too, but he makes bass jigs. And I got to tell you, he takes some of the tying techniques of some of the best fly tires in the world, and he puts them on bass jigs. He's phenomenal. And his name's SDG Custom Lure Craft. SDG. You just got to go watch his stuff. Even if you don't want to make anything, his name's Adam Felder. He's phenomenal. He just makes cool stuff, and he fits. He's a bass guy. He makes bass jigs, and he ties using a different style, a little bit different style than mine, right? So I'm going for this very thin profiled streamer profile that's going to condense in the water, right? But I built in a little bulk, and I can talk about that later. But what Adam does is he uses a lot of techniques from the fly world that includes, Alex, you got it, SDG. And so he uses stuff where he stacks. It's called stacking bucktail or stacking materials. So basically, it involves a lot more layering. So you start tying in further down on the shank, right? And then you're going to layer. And then there's also reverse tying where you'll tie in, but the material is going this way. And after you tie it in, then you fold it back over, and it creates double the bulk or volume.
Yep.
Again, so
I reverse tie a lot of spinnerbait skirts because when you reverse tie and then fold back, they'll collapse. And then when you stop that, like, you're reeling a spinnerbait, you give it a little twitch, and that slight pause, the skirt is going poof, and then coming together poof. And so it creates an action and a secondary action unlike anything you've seen with a regular production skirt. And it doesn't matter. It's profile and action, man. Profile and action.
And so like the newest thing, well, I call it new, right? Because this is my new exploration into all the materials and everything else, and I love the science of it all, right?
Yeah.
So UV, right?
Oh,
so I
dude,
people are asking about UV.
I'm glad you mentioned it because I brought some special UV out. Go ahead. To me, Goose. Do you believe it? I want to believe it. I want to believe it. I want to believe it.
I want to.
Oh, UV legs, UV violet, June bug violet. What? Come on, talk to me, Cuda.
This is look at he gets so excited. He gets
dude.
Look at. Do you see the purple in here?
I put that on my purple passion. Go ahead, talk to me, Goose.
UV.
I got that one. You found it. Yeah.
So there's a couple different things. So look at how sparse some of these things are. So on top of this,
Cuda, I can't believe you put that in there. Straight up, dude. That's in my shaky jig. That UV one. Buddy, I love it, man.
I'm just gonna let the kids play.
I'm sorry. I get
excited,
man. I'm sorry.
Come on, T, jump in here, buddy.
Brohim, it's very, very overwhelming. I got the Do It Molds catalog a couple weeks back. It's this thick.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to get into this. Listen, now it's not for me. I think it's all about your journey when it comes to fishing and where you're at. For me to start doing this stuff, I would get into it pretty hardcore if I got addicted to it like you guys. I don't have the facility for it right now. When I build my master bass lab, I'm going to have a station set up for all this stuff with all your crazy tools, and I'm going to try to learn.
You'll have to license Bass Lab for me, okay? Just
all right.
Okay.
So Brendan,
very intimidating, dude. It's very intimidating.
Hold on, you say that
you can start slow. You can start slow, dude.
Let me put ball heads, man. Let me put this out there for anyone out there that sees things. They say this is cool, and says, "Hey, I want to get started. This is what I'm going to put out there for you." And I did this, and I don't have my piece of paper that I summarized all this, but I remember it all. So this is what I'm going to tell you. If you go, as an example, if you go on Do It Mold site, and you know what, guys, listen, pick whatever ball head jigs you want, but keep it simple. Do It Molds you could buy for $35 this is skirted jigs. If you wanted to buy some materials, I will help anyone out that messages me on my Instagram to buy some fly tying materials, but I'm talking about skirted jigs. I could get you making 15 jigs without spending more than 35 to 37 bucks.
Isn't that crazy?
You make 15 of your own jigs, and you would go do it. And I did this because I purposely went and looked. They have a jig called a shaky jig head, and it basically is a ball head jig. It's got some ribbing on it. Okay. Stout hook. I don't know if they're 3 something for a 5-pack or whatever the heck they come out to, but you could get 3 5-packs, 15 plus bucks. You could buy 2 or 3 little bottles of vinyl lure paint, liquid, right? Or you could go the Eric route, and you could use nail polish.
Yep.
And then you could buy 3 different 10-packs of skirts, and then buy, I think they come in like 100-pack of the little rubber collars. I kid you not. I just calculated this out because I knew people were going to ask about these things, right? And for 35 to 37 bucks, you could buy some of the ball heads already. If you want, buy 2 or 3 colors of the powder paint. Guys, listen, I got a lot of powder paint, but I'm going to tell you something. I could turn it all in, and I could tell you that black, white, and a green pumpkin, it will get you through everything.
And honestly, guys, I'll just add to the mix, man. So you could get a black, and then you could go buy some nail polish that is like electric blue and make yourself a black and blue jig head. You could throw paint on top of an orange jig head and make it look like that. You know what I mean? That's got some black flecks. So it's endless what you can do. You can get a chartreuse jig head and then throw a little orange on the bottom and make it orange. I mean, it's endless. The possibilities are endless. It's true.
And that's for skirts. And, you know, to be honest with you guys, I mean, tying, and I'll tell you, I post my pics on Instagram, and I guarantee there's somebody from the Cool Kids Club of fly tying that looks and says, look at this slap. And they're probably right. But I'll tell you something, you know, I'm not the best tyer in the world.
Don't have to be.
I'm an idea guy. Don't
have to be the best tyer in the world. Right. Guess what, guys? You know, the one thing that impressed me, I went on a couple trout float trips. Well, you know, I worked for a company called Renaissance Worldwide, and the guy, he got a jet when we went public. And like, I got to fly on this jet to the Colorado River, and I'm like, what am I doing here? It just didn't seem real. But he hired guides, and we floated the Colorado River. And I looked in that guy's fly box, and I tied flies at the time. I brought my own. They tied ugly. And guess what? Yeah. Those flies caught the shit out of trout. Right. It doesn't have to look pretty. Your paint job doesn't have to look pretty. You could take nail polish and make it ugly on the bottom, or vinyl lure paint and paint an orange belly on a crankbait, and it doesn't have to look pretty to catch fish. The more ratty a crankbait looks, the better it catches them sometimes.
So Travis, here's one thing. I know that in time there's going to be some jig stuff that you have coming along, right?
Mm-hmm. Coming out soon.
So with those, with it doesn't matter what jig it is. I promise you that everything takes time, right? And you always want the cool stuff. You want to have 6 gazillion colors of things, and you know it's just endless. I lugged all this stuff up to my location thinking, I'm like, I don't know when I'm pulling out or I'm not pulling out.
I'm the same way, dude.
There's so much shit, you know. But I will tell you, although I haven't kept it simple, you really could get by with a few basic things. And I think just to do it one time, and to be honest with you, this is my own opinion. I personally think that craft fur is easy peasy, right? People will tell you bucktail, but the thing is, with bucktail, when you tie in bucktail, there's a simple tip when you first go to put on the material that's going to help it from flaring. And then there's also about where you take the material off of the bucktail, right? So like it does get complicated, T, and I think that's one of the big things. But I mean, it's a lot of stuff.
I've done the, you know, for my I guess call it the Mickey rig setup. Fishing for suspended fish with plastics. I have the Do It mold. I forgot which one it's called, but it's perfect for smaller plastic. Like there's a fine line between. For me, it was a lot of homework. Well, it wasn't a whole lot of homework. I talked to Paul Mueller, but it was a matter of all these different hooks. If you didn't know someone, you'd be overwhelmed. Like, how do we start? Where do we go? Based on the plastic that you want to use. So for me, I use that Rain's bubble shaker quite a bit, and it's super, super skinny. And you need a hook that can go through that plastic and not wreck it and look natural onto some type of jig head, obviously, that you have confidence in that you think will work. So I enjoy doing it. I have a bunch. I'm dreading the day I run out and I got to pull that thing out of the basement and redo it because it wasn't that easy for me.
Did you pour it, or was it that guy that poured for you?
No, I poured some as well.
You did? Okay.
Yes.
It didn't seem hard. I mean,
not hard, but they didn't turn out perfect, everyone.
Sure.
For me at first.
Right.
Practice, and then
practice
painting and stuff like that. If I wanted to choose, that's why I actually went with all lead on those. But it was cool to be able to make it and have those instead of paying retail and things like that. That is one bonus. Yourself, you can get a bunch of bulk hooks, good hooks, very, very cheap versus, a 5-pack at Tackle Warehouse.
It's interesting you said that, T, because if you ask Ben Milliken did a live the other day on his Facebook, right? And he was making stuff in the garage, and he actually said it, and it was a phenomenal point. This is about hooks, but he was talking about the Mustad hooks. Now, here's the deal. Everyone, and this is about the big name, hook companies, right? And so, a lot of times, like me, I'm making cool and fancy, right? And so I've got Gamakatsus on here, and they're crazy sharp. The 604s are super stout, they're beefy, but yet they're still not like a heavy 2X strong hook, right? But Milliken was talking about like throwing jig hooks, like larger 4 and 5 jig hooks, and he said, these Mustads are the best out there. And I don't know of how many other hook companies are matching the game of Mustad when it comes for big hooks, for swim baits, and for pouring, for swim baits, and then also for like flipping jigs and things like that. Like, people swear by these big Mustads. And so if you get the right hook, here's the thing. I think at the end of the day, everyone needs a buddy, right? Everyone needs a mentor. And
yes.
And you just have to find out who that person is, and you tell them, hey, are you willing to help me out? And there are some, you guys know this. I mean, there's characters everywhere we go in the fishing industry. But at the end of the day, I mean, if you get somebody and say, hey, can I call you? And then I'm not doing sales services or anything like that. I'm just telling you straight up that if you send me a message on Instagram, I promise you that I will steer you in the right direction in terms of just getting started. And you might get 10 other opinions, and then other people might say, hey, Cuda doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, I don't care, because sometimes I don't think other people know what they're talking about, right? So
yeah, man, that's right.
Yeah, you got to be chillax and just realize there's lots of ways to do these things. And,
heck yeah.
And it is overwhelming. And when I'm going to tell you, the reason I have all the fly tying material I have is because I didn't have anyone teaching me. And I'd go to the fly shop and I'd buy some stuff, and I'd go to next time and I'd buy more stuff and buy more stuff. And now I realize there's like certain things that I like to use that are easy to use. They create bulk for me where I want the bulk. Look at, Andrew's talking in chat right now, fishing the 262. This guy ties jigs. Andrew has phenomenal jigs. If you see his Instagram, he's been on the show for a long time, right? In chat.
Who are we talking about?
Yeah, he and I connected.
No, Andrew, which one? Which Andrew? Where's he at?
Fishing the 262.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
And he's up in Wisconsin, and he's a walleye guy. He ties phenomenal bucktail jigs. And like he was asking about a hook and a mold, and you know, I told him, and like he seems to be really happy with it. And you know, it's just one guy's opinion, but I mean, it is, Travis, you said it earlier, it is overwhelming, right? Just getting started, and it is. But you know, I think the whole thing about tying naked, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, my buddy I was referencing earlier, who's the walleye guy, right? He got done telling me that he just got done tying a whole bunch of bucktails, and he goes, Murph, I followed your advice. He goes, I didn't paint the heads. You know, it's like it's cool to paint them, and when you have the time, you could do it. But let's be honest, like Travis, your schedule. I mean, what do you feel like you have any extra time right now?
No.
Right. You know, so it's one of those things that you could decide to do seasonally.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the ways that you have to get into it. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, you just need to surround yourself with cool people that like are willing to say, hey, I want to create some stuff. And like you say, you don't want to go in the, you know, out and pour and go grab the stuff from the basement, Travis. I don't blame you. You know, I'm not a guy out there pouring all the time. I don't do it. But what you need to do is just sit there and set something up, whether it be with Jimmy or whoever it is, and, you know, pick a date, you know, and let you have available, and set it and say, hey, we're just going to pour jigs that night.
Yeah.
Have a pour party, man. That's what a club used to do. They would do a pour party, dude. Everybody would come over. They'd have the lead pot going, pour your jigs, bring your molds, and get her done, man. And you'd walk out, and some guys were powder coating, some guys weren't. I mean, these were like Arky jigs. So most guys were powder coating. So, but it was really cool, man. It was really cool just to have a pour party. It was the wintertime. Nobody was doing nothing. And in 4 or 6 hours, you know, you poured a lot of jigs, man. It's cool.
Kevin, my buddy Kevin, when he lived here, we did that. You know, we busted out on a Saturday and pour all my tube heads.
Yeah, he'd pour.
Well, I have all this stuff. Like I do pour my own tube heads and stuff like that, but I pour, you know, 1,000 and I'm good for 2-3 years.
1,000 jig heads. You've poured 1,000 jigs, and I'm looking for 50. I'm still waiting.
I have your gift package.
Okay.
I've given you my tube heads, Brohim.
I have one that I tied that I showed. You sent me 6 to tie samples for Beast Coast, and there it is. I tied it for Travis. This is the original prototype of Travis's jig, coming out soon to a shop near you.
There you go.
Right?
Fair enough. I owe you some jig heads. Yes, some tube heads.
All right, cool.
And you really, the other thing
is that Gamakatsu hook, though, that I think Cuda's talking about. Cuda, can you identify that Gamakatsu hook? That does look like a 2-aught to me, and it's not too thick, not too thin, man.
I'm going to be honest with you. So the 604 is a little thinner. There's another one called the 614, I think it is.
It might be. This is
the 614 is a little stouter.
Yeah,
it's a phenomenal hook.
This has to be a 614, bro.
All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna step away here. I'm gonna go get my big box.
All right.
Yeah.
And as you guys are talking, I'm just gonna pull a couple things out and get your opinion.
Okay.
If I'm going down the right direction here. Fair?
That sounds good.
All right.
Cuda, I want to show you this because you know what this is. You've seen a saltwater clouser, man.
Eyes on there, buddy.
So I did put dumbbell eyes. So I said to myself, what would happen if I just put dumbbell eyes, tied it clouser style? And this is one where I double folded and folded it back.
Yes.
But, you know, can you imagine that down there for a smallmouth with a shad-shaped worm just kind of swimming along the bottom? Would that just crush?
Killer. And you know what? And the best, despite me being excited about that design, it looks phenomenal. Guys, everyone, look at the material. Hold that up closer, Eric.
Yeah.
Look at the material. Look at the skirting. All right. So Do It Mulch just put out a little tackle tip today, and it was me, right? And so basically I talked about, I don't have my skirted jig box, but I used to make skirted jigs, and they looked supreme, right? They had all this. We used to talk about volume then and movement, but at the end of the day, movement and volume change, right? So volume changes movement. So rather than like a big flowy thing, right? You with less skirting material, you're going to get more movement and more action in the water, and you're going to get more bites. How about it, Eric? Everyone out there, they probably would have turned their nose up 10 years ago at a Ned rig. And now it's the hottest thing going.
It's so true, man. This is sparse for a reason because
Yes.
this is an inchy wacky head for those of you who haven't read about the inchy wacky technique. It was innovated in Japan. It's basically weighted wacky. So you can weight a wacky worm in the tail, but I'm putting the weight in the middle. So it's going to fall not tail down. It's going to fall level and get that little shimmy on the bottom. You didn't see it. I posted it on my IG today, but this is based on a Klauser minnow. The eyes are already, in there. So all I had to do, and by the way, you could go buy a $19 fly tying vise from Do It, and you're in business. And get yourself, this is a Gamakatsu stinger hook. By the way, I've caught tarpon, not on that size, so don't everybody bust my chops, but I tied tarpon flies that I took down to Key Largo, and this exact same Gamakatsu stinger hook. It was probably their 2/0 or 3/0 model, and it held, dude. This is a super sticky sharp. It's a saltwater version because it's silver plated. So I got a little bit of extra flash with the hook. I tied the thread long so that it would be red down the shank, right? And then on this one, I tied the thread, chartreuse. And all these materials are available from Do It, man. You can get yourself a vise, some thread, and they've got, silicone. I mix stuff up. I use some round rubber, silly legs, and mix it with silicone, a little bit of crystal flash on there. But that's just a sexy ass inchy wacky, in my opinion. It's for open water. You could tie, if you're really good at tying, you could tie yourself a V, out of fluorocarbon lines, so it would be weedless. I just tied these down and dirty and quick for tonight because I wanted to share some stuff with Cuda. You know what I mean?
Those are phenomenal. I like that you weighted them in the middle to get that fall the way you
yeah. The inchy wacky technique is a little bit different. So it's good for deeper water. Like if you got a seawall and the fish are moving vertically up and down on that seawall with a tide and they're tight to that cover, or a dock piling, the inchy wacky technique, you cast it out, and as the bait's falling, you're shaking your rod tip, and that thing is just moving. I've tied this before with just a regular weighted wacky, not the dumbbell eyes, no eyes on it at all. But I tied a little bit of crystal flash on it, and I tell you, I feel like I got more bites than who I was fishing with because it's just another little bit of attractor on your Senko to set you apart. Fish, and I'm not saying that, look, you're going to get a bite because you did it that way. It just gives me more confidence, especially when the fish are active. If they're really shy, I don't want all that flash and material. So I'm probably just going to throw a hook and weight it a different way. But if they're active.
It's funny you say that because when I was tying these up, I tied these up specifically for the show, and so this one here, right? There's a couple of things going on here, right? There's this is called cankalon hair or slinky fiber. It's all very similar, but a couple different colors. It doesn't show up that well on the camera, but it's a white on the bottom. There's a light lavender that I used in the middle that just helps with the transition to a blue. I
love it. Yeah, man.
But sometimes people put their flash on the side, on the bottom. I like mine on the top.
Yep.
Put it wherever the hell you want it.
Right.
And now Eric was talking about flash. Well, this one I purposely didn't add any extra flash to, but I used the UV Senyo's laser dub on the inside. And I mean,
man.
look at the
gorgeous
you get by look at it. Let me see if I could show this.
Dude, you got the olive on the back. Is that craft fur on the top?
It's craft fur on the top, but it's dark. Oh, excuse me, it's gray olive I used.
I see. I was calling it olive, but I love it. I love it. It's a beautiful color, man. It's like a blueback herring.
Yeah. So this material here, right? This is white.
Yep.
Rippled ice fiber. Nice. And if you look at the material, it's very kinked. Yeah. But what that does is it helps create volume. So when I pinch down here, you're automatically getting somewhat of a profile, less condensing, and it adds a little more bulk. And the difference, Eric, between that and here, look at here.
Oh, yeah.
Craft fur on the bottom, some purple UV in the middle, and then black craft fur on top. But if you look at how this condenses,
Yeah, really thin,
a lot
sure.
more, right? So that ripple material helps give it a little more volume. It's not stacked still. It's still, basic streamer style. And you guys have to understand, when I made these, my whole intent with this is that, I made the comment about the black hair jig earlier with Marabou.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. And how many can I make? And how many can I use? And then, I just want to make cool stuff, right?
I'm with you, man. I'm with you, dude.
So
I'm with you.
I had to change things up, and I wanted to change little minnow profiles and throw things. And at other times outside of even when I would throw a hair jig, which you could throw a hair jig forever. But let's be honest, when I go to the pond with my kids, just playing a little bit, casting, we'll throw a hair jig, but I also I cut a piece off of a Senko style bait, and I put it on the back end so they can cast it and just.
Oh yeah, great
great
tip.
Back with that.
Great tip, man. No,
the box
dude,
man's back.
I'm all about it, man. I'm all about it. Like, dude, this is so awesome.
It brought up some memories digging in this box.
Oh, I want to see it.
Got lead all over my fingertips. It's nothing serious here.
Don't lick your fingers. If anyone was asking about safety tips, pouring lead, don't lick your fingers.
This is the pot I'm using.
Oh yeah, Lee's pot. That's it, brother.
All right. I got a toaster oven in here too. I got this system. You plug it in.
The fluid bed.
Yeah. To paint them.
Travis has a video of using that fluid bed with his buddy. I don't know how old that video is, but he has it on his page.
So my tube heads, what I like, the tube heads I use when I'm throwing like my get bit baits, whether it be that 2.5 or even the 3.5, it'll work, or the slender tube. Which one is it here?
Hey, Cuda, I got a question from David Brown after Travis is done talking about lead not forming right.
Sure.
It's David Brown. So go ahead, Travis. David, I got your question, man.
Yes. So it's a tapered tube jig.
Perfect, Travis.
Model tube TC.
That's what I use.
Okay. That's what I like. Unfortunately, it only goes up to 3/8. Would love to have a half. And I'm sure there's options out there for that. But that's what I and 3/8, 3/8 is really a head I use quite a bit.
Right.
Even in shallow water. I'm a heavier tube guy most of the time.
Same here. And I have buddies that are guides up in the Door County area, and they'll yell at me for saying I need to go lighter, but that's what I learned. That's what I learned on the end of the lake. So
the hooks I'm using are the Mustad. I don't know if I can give you guys a number if you want. It's 32833 NP-BN, size 1/0, and then I have a size 2/0 hook, and that's the hook I use on my tube and my tube heads.
All right, so I'm going to tell you right off the bat, Travis. All right, I started pouring. I started pouring 2/0 hooks for some tube jigs when I started downsizing my tubes. But I will tell you that even on Eddie Bones in the room, and he mentioned it earlier, but so when I am throwing 3.5 bigger tubes, right? Mm-hmm. I'm using 3/0 and 4/0 in Gamakatsu 614s. I'm only telling you this because you can get away with a bigger hook on a 3.5-inch tube. If I go down to anything under 3 inches, a 2.5, 2.75, any of the get bit stuff, right? I can't use even at 3/0. It's just hanging too far out of the back end, and you have to go down. But you can make it work with even a 2/0.
Yes.
A 1/0 would work.
And I've been messing around too with and I haven't poured any new ones. Like I said, when we make these, we do them by the 500,000 batches. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of Bavarian tube heads as well, where I use a bigger hook, and I really like that hook.
Guys like that hook.
I don't know. I don't have a problem with it.
Have you ever, Travis? Hold on. Have you ever used a barbarian hook tube and ever had a break or?
No,
So
I have
there
not.
you go. Right.
You ever use the owner deep throat?
I have not.
Bad to the bone. Bad to the bone. So here's a question for you, David Brown.
Yes.
He asks, when melting, what's wrong with the lead when it doesn't stick to the hook? He goes, I have probably 25 molds, and the only mold that does that is the new swim worm mold with screw lock. Why isn't the lead sticking to the hook?
All right. So I'm just going to give you the different reasons that could be causing it. One, if you're pouring outside and it's been cold out, you have to make sure that that mold itself is getting heated up. And David, if I'm telling you stuff that you've already sorted through, then message me on Instagram and I'll try and walk you through it. But the number one reason that the full pour isn't happening within a mold is because the mold is too cool, right? So basically you need to take that mold. Travis had his pot out earlier. You literally take that mold and set it right on top of the pot and you let it sit for a while. Some guys will take a blowtorch and put it to it. I don't do that. I set it on top of the mold. The other thing is there's guys out there. This is the opinion thing again. There's guys out there that are going to tell you it doesn't matter. Well, it matters to me and I do it. I smoke my molds, which basically means I take a candle. I hold the bent part of the mold on the metal, on the concave part of where the pour happens. And I hold the candle and you run it over and it blackens the mold. Basically, look at Travis. Travis has it right now. He's blackened his mold. And the point of that is to allow for the lead to release from the aluminum mold itself. They also sell, you could get some type of release compound or agent. I don't know what it is. I think Duo Molds has it. I've never used it. I smoke my molds. It doesn't matter.
Edward Bone says too much tin in the lead could be the problem as well. And then somebody asked, can you melt down tire weights for your lead?
You know, that's a good question. So everyone I know who's ever poured and taught me how to pour has melt down tire weights. And I'm going to tell you something.
So it's free lead.
After X number of years, they have pouring problems and everything else. If you're going to pour a lot of jigs, you get lead however you need to get it. But you have to understand that you have to clean your lead, and they call it fluxing, right? So you fluxing is a process. I don't want to overcomplicate this for people, but basically it's the bad things in lead.
Yeah.
When it's put into a molten state, will float to the top, and you have to. You ever see guys pouring? They take their spoon and they skim off the top. That's taking out all the junk. If you don't do that, what will eventually happen is it'll get caught up in the spout of your pot. Now here's another option too.
Swim Jig 50. Here's a question for you. So I'm into split shotting. I think it's an ignored technique, and guys in California are probably the best split shotters in the world. They're like ultra finesse guys. And the one guy that would pour his lead round weights, right, for split shotting, no ears on it, by the way, just round, he would increase the tin in the lead so that the lead didn't get stuck in the crevice. It was harder, so it didn't wedge in. You could pop it out easier because it was a harder weight. So why not do that with a lead head? Increase the tin. I know you get some problems, but is there an optimal amount? I mean, I'm getting really technical here, so who cares? Anyway,
interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was fascinating. So he did a custom pour, and then I started to think, well, why not just use non-toxic, split shot like the trout guys do, because it's harder, it's more expensive,
I mean, the biggest thing, David, just keep this in mind. 2 minds are better than 1, right? So when you problem solve, always pick somebody else's brain. And if that gets exhausted, meaning that you're not able to solve the problem, then grab another person that's willing to talk jigs with you. If you message me, I'd be more than happy to try and think through it with you. Not that I'm going to be able to 100% solve it right with you. But hey, at least I'll help you try and walk through it and get you in the right direction. Like I said, guys, my number one goal, somebody asked earlier, am I going to start selling jigs? God only knows someday, right? You know, I have a day job and I'm not quitting it. That's what I'm telling you.
There you go.
But I
There
will
you go,
tell you
man.
this. You could bet your bottom dollar there's going to be some cool, interesting things coming in 2021.
That's right, man.
I'll tell you that right now.
There you go.
And maybe it's just cool pictures, right? Cool jigs.
That's all right.
Like my little citrus shad type
Dude,
of
that's
jig.
sexy.
You know, but anyway, David, I'll do anything I can to help out. Look in chat. There's a lot of people making some really good comments.
Very much so.
Real quick, another mold that I like to use is the Freestyle Jig model FST 6SA.
Open that thing up. Which one is that? Is that the same one that I'm pouring like this?
It's a freestyle jig.
Oh yeah, this is it, brother.
But you got the eye cavity. Is there an eye cavity in there, Travis? Looks kind of like
yes.
Yeah, I see it.
I don't have mine. Mine's out in the garage.
But this is what I do. This is what I use when I'm fishing for suspended fish. I'm using those smaller plastics. This is the mold I like. And then I use
Travis, what size hook? If you're going down the smaller size jigs, 8 ounce. You're making
this is 16.
Okay, this is what I want to hear.
Yeah, this one is 1/32, 1/16, 3/32, 1/8, 5/32, 3/16. Those are my choices.
So you're Demiki rigging is what you're saying.
Demiki rigging. This is what I'm using. And then I'm using a Mustad 1/0 for those that are interested. I mean, it's tiny. 32746 NP-BN. And that's the hook I'm putting in there. And I can thread those little Rains bubble shakers. I mean, you can use just the Demiki Armor Shad, like the smaller ones. It'll work in that hook. But that's to the extent that I take it. I pour those and I pour my tube heads, and that's pretty much it.
So, yeah, I mean, I will tell you, I mean, that 1/0 is a phenomenal size. Like if I'm wading the river, and this is what I'm using, ironically enough, this is back to me using Eagle Claws. So if I'm wading the river, I'm pouring 1/0 and 2/0. I could get in my ball head jig mold, I could get 1/0 in the 16th, and I modified the mold just a little bit, and just to get them in, and then a 2/0 in the 1/8 ounce. But what further, I use that same mold now, and I can also get 3/0 owner 5318s in there and Gamakatsu 604s 3/0 in an 1/8 ounce ball head jig. And what I'll do with those 3/0s, Travis, I'll actually put those on swim baits, plastic swim baits, not the little Kitex like the 2/8s, but I have a swim bait that is hands down my jam and my favorite swim bait. I mean, Kitex had their place, but I have a swim bait that I absolutely love, and it's about 3.5 inches.
Do tell.
You guys are going to be surprised, but I'm going to tell you, and if any of my guys in the chat here, my Chicago guys will know, Dave, I've used this for years. It's a saltwater swim bait.
What?
And it's the saltwater assassin, the saltwater version of the Bass Assassins.
No way.
It's phenomenal. The tailing has just enough volume to it before it gets to the tail where it just that swagger in the water, and it's got a little roll to it. It's phenomenal. I've absolutely pounded largemouth and smallmouth on that bait, and I picked it up fishing for redfish down in Texas, and now I use it, and I'll buy it in every color that I think will catch a fish, and use it for bass. So that's my jam. That's what I like. Swim baits. Kitex are decent too. But this is,
they
you
are
get to the summer.
Expensive, but they're a one fish bait.
Yeah, right. I mean,
unless you're using a screw lock. We showed it. Did I catch 8 on it, Travis? 8 in a row. I think it
thought
was
more than that, but yeah,
might have been 10 on one. I had to really work it though, man. But I did it.
You did it
on film. That was cool.
Was that a 2.8 or a 3.3?
Ooh, 2.8, I believe. 2.8.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's hard to beat that smaller bait profile. Just think about that for a second. 2.8 inches. Once you get under 3 inches for a bait, I mean, this is the real deal. And get ready. I mean, look at Nico Baits. You guys were all creaming about about that big old crab. Nico makes a 1-inch crab. He makes a little crab that you just rig sideways on like a ball head and let that float in the current. Oh my God.
No, I'm rigging that crab on that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Forget about it, dude.
Nico Baits, that guy, when I saw that crab and I saw that they had a 1-inch crab, I thought, oh my God, look at this thing. I know there's probably people that don't know about the Nico Baits show. Did you delete it?
Nah, I didn't. I will sooner than later.
Guys, I think the biggest thing is I could go on and talk about all types of cool stuff, and I'll tell you, it's a simple start. You have to pick out a jig, right? And you have to pick that jig out the size you want. That's going to be enough problem for you, right? You got to get started somewhere. I'm telling you, even if you just want to buy a couple of lead colored shake it jig heads and do it molds, buy yourself 1 or 2 paint colors, 3 paint colors, black, green, pumpkin, and white, and then buy yourself a couple skirt tabs. I mean, just keep it simple, and you have to get started somewhere. And if you don't get started somewhere, you're forever going to be talking about doing it.
True. I think that's great advice, man.
And
you know what? The universal jig, dude, catches them everywhere.
Look at Travis. Look what he just said. You guys hear him? He says, I pour mostly this size tube heads. And of course he probably has all the other sizes. When you pour a lot, you pour, right? And then he's got a couple of ball heads. And you know what? You don't need to overcomplicate things. If you are a smallmouth bass fisherman and you wanted to pour jigs, you should own the tapered tube jig mold, and you should own a ball head jig mold, RHB 7A. I know it so well because it's the most iconic mold, I think, out there. Freestyle jig mold, yeah, this is all cool. But the point is, if you want to get started and you don't want to buy a more expensive pot, which isn't crazy expensive, the one Travis has there, they have a little handheld one that you plug into an outlet, and it looks like a big spoon. And it heats up, I don't know, a couple of, an ounce or 2 of lead, and you heat it up, and you actually just pour the ladle into the jig mold, and you're in.
So this, do you have a jig head that you're talking about, like poured, like one we can see?
A plain one?
Yeah, that's what I want to see, because I want to see all the things we can do with it.
You give me a second. Let me go get the box.
You take your time. We need to see that jig head.
You guys get me going. I like to talk.
That's what I'm talking. Well, hell yeah, dude.
Okay. So, Eric, I think I will get into this, but I mean, I'm picturing like a 15, 20 foot long space, all set up, high tables.
Oh yeah. You got to have
all my powder up on the ledge, all my paint, all my ties, all my, I'd want these to be all lined up in a row, just really nice.
Yeah, just of course,
a gorgeous shop to do my damage. So I would go all out as soon as I get the room to do this.
That's right.
Heck
yeah, man.
I'd be in. I'm in. We'll have jig porn parties.
Now that's going to be fun, dude. Tie parties, jig pouring parties, contests, viewer contests. Send it in, man. You could take this thing to next level.
Yes.
The SmallmouthCrush Award, the Bass Lab Award. What? Here we go, man. Let's launch it now. That's what I'm talking about.
Tacklecraft goes, add that to the vision board. I'd like to get a little paint booth in there, but I think I would suck at that too.
Yeah, look, you can't be everything to everything. You know what I mean? You got to just focus down and do something good, man. Become a jig pour.
Okay.
Hey, man, I'm representing. I'm representing again.
Again.
Look at that, man. Real shot. Boom. Looks good on that water bottle, dude. I cut that sticker up, man. Nice.
It is nice.
Thank you, man. Wisco, bro. I've never even been. No, I went there one time for the custard and the fish fries.
What's BTC hinting in these text messages?
Dude, man, he is a he's teasing right now. Big time.
Teasing.
We got Brian the Carpenter teasing something big. Dang.
Should probably.
I don't know, man. Why don't you bring on Alex and have Alex tell you?
Why does Alex know?
Apparently.
I am in the loop on it. Yes, we won't say too much on it tonight. We'll let the cat out of the bag tomorrow on the Bass Ustream 7 p.m. We got an exciting event coming up based on some of the comments that were said earlier on tonight's show. I think it's going to be very, very entertaining for everyone involved, and it should be a good time.
I think you're becoming a per member of the team over there, man. That's my prediction.
I mean,
you're hired, bro.
We got some good stuff rolling.
Damn, I wanted that job, Alex. Why'd you steal my job, man? I said you were going to be the Pope.
Oh my gosh!
I said you're going to the elites. I said no. BTC goes better. I go, what? He's becoming the Pope. He goes, and then he didn't answer.
I mean, I have a hard time reading just halfway through his text without laughing. They're so funny.
BTC is one of the funniest people I know. He is the 2-word make you crack up. His stories are the best. I don't know how his brain works.
He is, yeah.
But I love that beautiful brain of his, man. I love his dog now too. Oh, his little Woofy, man. I'm in love with his dog, man. Yeah.
Well, we could talk BTC stories all night. We'll save that till the after hours. We'll get back to Cuda learning us something here.
All right, show us that jig head. BTC, I hate you for teasing me like that, but I love you at the same time. You rascal, if you're watching.
So if I take what is it? 36, 3,700. I don't know what the number of the.
Doesn't matter. It's a big jig box.
Right. And I got a couple here. But so basically, mine go across 3 rows. 1, 2, 3. And the whole way. And it's tube jigs. Quarter, 5/16, 3/8. Mustad hooks. Quarter, 5/16, 3/8. Owner. And then I go on to the Gamakatsus. But as an example, here's a I love this hook. This is an owner, I think a 5318, right? It's just a classic hook, right? It's a light wire hook. And I'll literally pour the quarters, the 5/16 and 3/8. In this owners, these are all in 3/0 hooks. 3/0, 3/0, 3/0. And you got to understand, I'm using this for smallmouth, right? So I know there's probably other techniques people are going to use, but that's what I pour. And I'll tell you what, this jig box, I turn it sideways, but I'm literally on like this glass stand-up desk. I will break this fucking thing. But I'm making this point to you that this is it. That whole
tell us all the things you could do with it. You showed us you showed us the streamers you tied tonight. So you throw that Zoom grub on that dang thing, man. You tie a regular ball head finesse jig with skirted material, right?
Swim baits.
I
throw swim baits on a ball head jig. And now there's lots of other cool jigs out there, and I've started to pour some with that. But like I said, I didn't come on here to tell people stories and want you to go buy jig molds. I'm here to tell you straight up, if you are a smallmouth bass fisherman, you need 2 molds. You need RHB 7A ball head, and you need the tapered tube jig mold. I throw swim baits on this. I throw Fat Albert grubs. I will throw tubes on this. My favorite tubes are the Get Bit the Bass Pro Shop double dip, not to flatter Vlad the Impaler over here at all, but at the end of the day, I mean that's what I use. And the thing is, I'm a Chicago guy. A long time, like Schubert's tubes was the deal out of Michigan, right? And then we were getting them from a guy down in Arkansas, and so different types of tubes. But at the end of the day, if I had to pick tubes, there's lots of cool tubes out there, but the Bass Pro Shop tubes, double dipped, are phenomenal.
I'm a huge fan of that. Hey, I gotta make an announcement, guys. Because we're an equal opportunity help everybody out. Bass Pro Shops, because I just ordered some double dips today. I think they're like $3 a pack. They're like 20% off right now.
Is it still the spring sale?
I have no idea. I was shocked. I was like, shit.
It's cheap.
It's a very good deal. Bass Pro Shops double dip tubes. I use those tubes more for largemouth. Okay. But they'll certainly work for smallmouth for sure. I just have
harder. I don't want to say harder. They're
I know what you mean. Yes.
I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
Lunker Release asked in chat. He goes, no eighth ounce tube heads. No. I don't throw I just don't throw tubes going that light. There's not a thing. I mean, I have 3/16. I do have 3/16 ounce jigs as well, just not as many of like what I would normally pour. But see, you got to understand when you put a tube on, right? And and this isn't for you, Lunker Release, but this is just anyone that doesn't always fish a tube. Tubes do a lot of cool things that people I don't think fully realize that they do. You ever see a tube fall in crystal clear water and it almost does like it's going down a spiral staircase, right? And it's the way it falls. It's the way if you're popping one and you pop it off the bottom in real clear water and you watch it fall and see what it does. I don't think there's much I can't do with a 1/4 ounce tube, and I actually can't even envision myself fishing. If I'm fishing lighter than that, then I'm fishing something other than a tube. That's just me, lighter than 3/16. T, you ever use smaller tubes, or Eric?
Yeah, 1/8 ounce. I've used 16th ounce. And for largies, but where would I use it, Travis? Quiz time.
We really want to go there?
No, that's for a Patreon stream.
All right.
Ah.
And listen, I'll tell you.
Listen, go ahead.
No, go, Travis.
I do use 1/8 ounce quite a bit, and it's more when you're dragging or drifting. It's a technique I like to use, like an 1/8 ounce, when I just want that to barely tick the bottom, bounce off, just kind of
float around.
Not if I'm actually physically moving that tube with a rod. Not so often will it be an 1/8, but there's a time and place.
You're drifting
on a tube jig head, or are you Texas rigging that and pegging?
No,
okay.
No, on a tube jig head.
The only time I'll go lighter is fishing for largemouth is and I'll Texas rig and peg them sometimes. Sometimes I won't peg them. It just depends. Like if I fish on the Kale Sag, which is like the Delaware River for us in Chicago, right? I mean, and there's guys that'll throw exposed hook, but I mean, usually I usually don't throw exposed hook in the waters I fish, mostly for large.
I did a weightless tube one time.
Yeah.
Listen to this. Check this out, man. So I'm in a pond that gets the shit kicked out of it. And there were bass on beds. So I took gin clear water. And they get fished for all the time. So I took the HP high performance hook with the clip, the Shaw Grigsby model, right? Tube hook.
Yeah.
Clipped it. And I said, you know what? I want to get this tube to suspend. So I bit a hole in the bottom, and the tube filled up with water and was neutrally buoyant. and I put that thing near the beds, and those fish ate it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You know, interesting enough, you say that. Somebody was talking about it. Was it Simonton last week talking about some bed stuff? Or maybe it was Kale. Maybe Kale was talking on the new video that Travis put out for some bed fishing. But, you know, it's interesting. It's like, I think it was Kale. I was watching that earlier. It's Kale Simpson, the video Travis put out earlier today. If you didn't watch it yet, go watch it. I mean, this guy fishes. He's a Canada guy. Talked about fishing on Simcoe. Just crazy cool stuff.
Oh, nice.
But he talked about like the reactions of fish, right? As you are bringing a bait onto a bed. And I think this kind of applies to whether it's a largemouth or a smallmouth.
Travis, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? You're making a racket, dude. I can't focus on the show. I can't focus on the show, dude. Be here with the show.
I am here. I'm trying to multitask right now.
Dude, that sucks. You're sucking right now. Stop it.
I am not making any more noise. Keep going.
Stop it. Do not jiggle another fucking rattle trap.
Okay.
Or me and fucking Cuda are gone. You're out, dude. Okay. Just take your fucking self off the stream. Put yourself on mute.
Oh, more noise than Salzman.
God damn. What the hell?
All right. So Kale talked about this. He talked about, everyone knows this. Everyone we've ever talked about, whether you're fishing for sight fishing, right? The reaction of the fish. But I will tell you, here's something I observed by fishing a pond for bass that were on beds, pretty shallow, with a buddy of mine last year. And, you know, I'm throwing stuff in there. I'm throwing like a 7-inch power worm and black flake, which is really looks like purple. And it's just, basically I'm not trying to fish them on the beds, but I'm swimming around, getting bit. And I'm telling you something, I'd bring that thing in that bed or by that bed and pull it past it. And that fish was just like, go scratch. Yeah, no go. My buddy pulls off this fat, real high profile bait that looks like a bluegill. And he starts swimming that thing past there. That fish came off the bed to go chase that thing down. And so what it reminded me of is, you know, a lot of baits get bit, and you get a reaction strike by annoying the piss out of them. But I think this is where it gets back to profile and size, where if you match that up, you increase your odds in any given situation for identifying what is their largest what is the largest bait fish or the biggest bait fish that is a danger to that bass on that bed. Bluegill. And you know, it's different on the different bodies of water where you go.
Oh, that's true. You know? Very true. What does smallmouth hate more than anything when they're spawning?
Oh, I don't know.
Travis?
Gobies.
It's okay, where there are no gobies.
Perch.
It's
gotta be. I'd go with perch.
Crayfish, but probably perch.
Where's perch? Bone? Are you in chat? This is my guy. This is my mentor. Chris, is that Wisconsin, Chris? It's got to be Goby. I think Chris is my Wisconsin connect. It's got to be white tube. White tubes catch them. But it's just something to consider, right? You know, and so you just have to look at pretty common answers: crayfish, perch, goby. I don't think I know enough about the other bait fish to kind of or small.
And I don't know as much about inland lake nest raiders, if you will. I really think I don't know if it's crayfish. I really don't.
My buddy Bone says it's goby, and I think for
but like at an inland lake, you know what I mean?
Where there is no goby.
Where there's no goby, do you see like bluegills raiding a smallmouth bed like you would see it in a largemouth? I mean, if there's a largemouth bed, you're going to see bluegills in the area for sure.
For sure, yes.
Is that the same as an inland lake? I mean, maybe yellow perch. Are they hanging around the beds?
That's why I said perch.
If it's a larger, if it's
Yeah.
a larger inland lake, you're going to have more perch, right?
Yeah. Like those Wisco lakes that you fish. Do they have goby, Travis? The inland lakes in Wisco?
A handful, not everyone.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
And it's not predominant food source.
Perch would be. Is that their number one food source, crayfish and perch?
No, shiners,
Oh, shiners.
Yeah.
shad, obviously, you know, shiner.
Yeah,
whatever
there
you
you go.
call it.
There you go.
Emerald shiners and shad.
Yeah.
It's those damn bluegill, man. I'm telling you.
Interesting.
Huh.
Very interesting. Food for thought. What's your most successful bed fishing bait for smallies where there are no gobies?
Man. I mean, on my rotation,
Yep.
it has to be a tube.
Sure.
And I really like the smaller, like a bitsy tube.
Oh, good point.
Definitely a drop shot of some sorts. You know, that Gajo Spirit Shad works pretty much anywhere for bedding fish, but
Yep.
and then a stick bait, you know, a 3-inch, 4-inch, just a wacky rigged stick bait will do the job most of the times. Don't have to rotate too much when it comes to that. You know, smallmouth are very aggressive on the beds, and you know, you can rotate through the, you know, I mean, a lizard would work. It does work. I've caught them, plenty of them. Beaver baits. But the thing with smallmouth is they once they're committed to a bed, they're there. They're gonna bite at some point. It's just making them mad enough. It's
They're
not
pretty
like
aggressive, right? I mean, way more aggressive than a largemouth.
It's not like southern largemouth where you might have to work on a fish for over an hour. I bet you the longest I was forced to work on a bedder was maybe 20 minutes.
Wow.
You can always, but I'm hitting them with a couple things. I'm going to show them a drop shot, get them mad, and then I'm going to throw a tube in there real quick. Maybe just 1 or 2 pitches. Then I'm bringing that back out. That's one thing I have the confidence in. If he's there and he's not moving, I'm going to catch him. But you have to kind of, just like Cal was saying on the podcast, you have to feel that fish out and kind of, there's always that sweet spot on that bed where that bait, where he or she does not want that bait to be.
Yeah.
And so once you can locate that, your odds of being able to get him, but I'd be, you know, there's times you miss the cast, and that's the time it decides to turn around and spin on and bite it. So
crazy.
It's it's fun. I love it. It's terrible for the fishery, but I do enjoy doing it once a year, you know.
Do you hit the smallmouth with the bait, tackle craft ass, like you could do that with the largemouth and fire them up?
Yeah, normally they're already fired up. But yeah, you can. I could think of one time now that we're thinking about it here. I was with Joe Raymond. We were on the St. Lawrence River, and we did see a mega, you know, 8-pounder. I'm just saying, it was big.
Holy crap!
3 feet of water, but the male was with her, and it just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And so we left her. We stayed for about a half hour, and then came back, and she was gone.
What?
But it was a true beast.
Wow.
And the problem was, so we're both all excited, and we're both throwing shit in the bed, you know. If you would have just let me work it properly and just sat back and watched, probably would have been able to get them in. You can't compete. You can't compete and work the same bedded fish with 2 anglers in the boat. That doesn't work.
We tried that in Alabama. It didn't work out too good.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Don't like that.
You got to actually like take turns, and that's just the way it is. It's like, you get this bed and fish, the next one we see, whoever sees it, you get the shot. You got to take turns. I did that bone fishing with my buddy Doug Deschereaux, and unfortunately, he didn't catch the world record bonefish. I did, and it was a 14.4. 14-pound 4-ounce bonefish on a 9.9 tippet, IGFA world record. My guide would not sign my card.
You would have had all of us there. That's why he wouldn't sign it.
That's exactly why guides don't do that. They don't want world record chasers in their bodies of water. right?
Yeah.
And by the way, if that was a New York State record, I know a guy named Will wouldn't have let you post anything about it, or you would have been disinvited. He doesn't want people up there, bro. Haas. It's true.
It
It's
wasn't
true.
on Will's waters, but
You sure? Okay. Oh, that's good to know. He'll be happy.
Ken Marty said in chat, you know, I'd say a small is just a lot more aggressive. You know, it's funny, Ken, because I kind of think so too. But you know, then you talk to guys that aren't around a lot of smallmouth, and they would say they would argue with that. You know, I personally agree with you, but that's just been my own personal experience. Interesting though, you know, it depends on where you're at, what part of the country. You know, everyone's got kind of a few different experiences with that, but it's all probably true to a certain extent, right?
mm-hmm.
No doubt, man.
But like I said, it's not as much as I love doing it. I like to compete in tournaments. I know it's terrible for the fishery.
Yeah,
it really is. But I do like a betting tournament. I feel that's one of my biggest strengths is sight fishing.
Yeah,
and it is exciting. It's just not
good.
It's not the best thing to do.
It's
You know, back
like,
in the day,
it's kind of like shore lunches for smallmouth.
right? I mean,
What are
back
you
in the
doing,
day,
man?
we would sit there and just, I mean, we would jack on them all day long, you know, for like a week, 2 weeks straight. Now it's like, it's fun for a day. You get out of your system once a year and then go on. And, you know, I don't like, it's fun to trophy because you can really try, you can catch some big mamas that time of year too, you know, some bedding smallmouth if you hit it right. And so that's really enjoyable. But those bigger males, man, those males get so stressed out. That fish will sit on that bed for 2-3 weeks, it seems. Like he's just always there, you know, the same fish, especially in northern bodies of water. And then if you get in a populated area or you know, highly pressured lakes, that fish is getting caught 2-3 times a day. I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what the thing is too, Travis? I think it depends on, you know, like how frequently people have an opportunity to go out and fish for them too. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like as an example,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if we go out on the south end of the lake, I mean, you can find you can find betters, right? But I mean, I use Door County as a reference a lot because that's just my favorite place in the world, and usually I'll try and go up there at least a couple times a summer. But I will tell you this: by the time I get done with like one weekend and chasing fish on the beds, I kind of, you know, it like I'm done with it a little bit. You know what I mean? And it like,
Yeah.
now don't get me wrong. It takes one big fish you come across that's going to change all that. But it's mostly because I don't get the fish up there as much as I'd like to, or my buddies like Bone or Chris Johnson and other friends up in that way that they, you know, they get to go fish for them all the time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so
here's a question. If you're a co-angler in a bedding tournament and your pro beds down for like 30 minutes working a fish or an area, what's the best way for the co to catch smallies while you're working a bedding fish? Fan cast, obviously, but what would you be fan casting, Travis, if you were in the back?
Ned rig and just super long cast.
and dragging it.
Dragon Ned rig, super long
Hopefully
cast.
coming across something.
What size Ned head in that damn Z-Man crazy Ned head world?
1/10.
1/10. What color Ned and who makes it?
Yoga Pants TRD.
There it is, man. Finesse. 10-pound test or 8-pound test on the leader?
8.
8-pound test on the leader, fluorocarbon to 10-pound test braid?
Yeah, 8 or 10.
8 or 10. There you go. Ken Marty, right there, brother.
There's a lot of other options. I mean, you could throw a tube. You could, a wacky rig Senko would be a great choice.
Right.
Normally, if there's a guy locked down on a bedder, there's probably a couple, maybe. It's interesting. Some of these lakes, dude, like there ain't a roamer around. They're locked on, bed, over here, over there. You ain't got you got nothing in between 75 yards, but another fish on the bed. So, but there is plenty of lakes where there's an influx of fish just cruising around as well.
Right.
So I think it varies on the situation, of course.
Fair enough, man. But that's good advice for your co's out there, bro. So, Travis, if you get a co that was listening to this stream and he's got yoga pants with a 1/10 ounce and he's got the right rig, man.
That's right.
Please thank him and remind him that he was watching the stream.
I don't have any smallmouth bedding tournaments this year. There's a Wisco one I'm fishing in June, but I think that's going to be at the tail end because they've had pretty mild year. I mean, I'm gonna find the last 5 remaining bedding fish in that tournament, but
they'll be there. I mean, last year I went up the last week in June, and we I mean, we found
that's
them.
my
I mean,
that's my favorite.
You really got to turn up the motor and the trolling.
I love being able to go along, knowing that it's the tail end, right, of the spawn, and everyone else is kind of doing the transition thing. They think that maybe they need to go deep to go catch their 22 pounds, but you normally can find the five big old males in that 4 3/4 to 5 1/4 pound range. That's still guarding a bed. That's going to be there for a few more days, and they're consistent and reliable. You just need to find 5 of them and have the right weather to go get them. Because they might be spread out, they might be 5-6 miles away apart.
Yeah.
But it can be done.
I mean, look at that MLF tournament. What was it, last June? Probably, I don't know, second week, June 10th. I don't know what the heck. It was the second week or later in June. But, they weren't finding them, I mean, I think they were too sporadic, and I think there were other techniques that were going to get them on a little more fish on some of those flats and stuff like that. And they really caught them that way, but I don't think a lot came on the beds.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say I'm targeting that for sure. I'm just saying if conditions are right, if I have sunny, calm conditions, then yes, I'm going to be looking. If it's crap weather and things aren't going to line up, then obviously I'm going to bail on that. But I'm looking forward to that for sure. It's like I said, it's fun fishing a tournament for spawners because your practice is so much. It's like you're just relieved. All you have to worry about is putting in the time and looking with your eyes as hard as possible to try to find that little fish that's set up that's so out of the way from everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go back and check on him, and he's there the day before. I mean, I've checked on fish for a week. Same fish, they're there,
Wow.
Oh, yeah. You never experienced it much, Eric, have you, up there?
Bedding? No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
You would enjoy it a lot.
I'm sure.
You would totally. Like, my favorite way, if I had to do it, would be like a flip and stick with 65-pound braid.
What?
And just wait for throw a creature bait in the bed and just jack on them.
What?
I mean, that's my favorite way to do it.
65-pound braid, like in the reeds and shit.
No, just out in
the. They'll bite it, right? Because they're so crazy.
Sure.
That's so crazy. 65-pound braid on a bed and smallmouth, just jacking on them, and there you are with like 8 and 10-pound tests, like having a heart attack, landing them.
Well, yeah,
I've seen.
I mean, seriously,
that have haunted me.
What's that?
I've seen smallmouth that have haunted me up
in
Wisconsin. Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Like I can't even. Yeah, like it just haunted me. I looked. You see them in deep water. We're talking at least 13 plus feet.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh my god. You look. You think you're on a flat, and then you realize the entire thing's a fish's bed.
Oh my god.
Crazy.
I don't think.
Go ahead, Travis.
I say I don't. Besides the one Joe and I saw up on the St. Lawrence, that wasn't a true giant, but it was big enough for us to get worked up over it. I think my biggest smallmouth ever seen swimming was up in Egg Harbor, and it was a deep deal, just cruising.
How big do you think it was?
Dude, like I thought it was a 10-pounder.
Oh, what
I know
the
it sounds
hell?
dumb. I know it sounds dumb, but
Come on, man.
Oh yeah, I think you see. You know what? Here's the thing. Everyone's got a fish story, especially the one we didn't catch, right? But at the end of the day, I think that I've seen 8+ swimming, no joke. And listen,
you think what?
I think I've seen 8+ swimming up north.
Holy shit!
No, I mean the guy in the tournament 2 years back, or when was it? 3 years back, brought in an 8. How big was that fish up north?
Yeah,
8+ pounder.
Mm-hmm.
So they're there. You know,
I think I caught an 8 with Travis. The scale was wrong. How big do you think that fish was, Travis?
It was 7.
For sure. He was a monster. He put me on my personal best the first time I was on Ontario.
Yeah, dude, they were. I mean, it took us a while, if you remember that day.
But it was a cool journey.
Perch eaters, dude.
I literally stood in the middle of the boat on the big water. I'm not getting up on the back deck. Nope. Leaned up against the console.
It was.
You called in, you fucking die. Nope. Wasn't going to do it. Nope.
You don't die.
I swear to God, no way, man. But when we got near the mouth of that river, which will be unnamed, dude, the screen lit up with bait. It was crazy, and then it just went off, man.
Hey, look at Taylor Marcel asked this question in chat. You guys ever pitch around marabou jigs for those cruising fish? If so, how? You know, it's interesting you say that, Taylor, because that's a thing, right? There's guys that'll throw marabou jigs, long cast. Travis said earlier about long cast. He was talking about somebody in the back of the boat. But I mean, that's the deal. They work in deep water. There's people that use them in shallow water. But absolutely. Mm-hmm. I mean, here's the thing. You got to understand, a black marabou jig, I mean, you throw that in the water and it looks thinner than a pencil. You know, maybe about a pencil's width. You know, and you're just slowly creeping it along. There's guys that'll tell you they just ticking across the bottom. There's different techniques, right? But shallow catches them too. And some people won't throw them shallow.
I think my favorite way to fish like a marabou is straight retrieve. I like to be in that 6 to 10 for the water. I mean, it does work up shallow, up on the flats, things like that, 2-3 feet. You can throw it into a cruiser or one that's moving and let it fall. But there's a lot of little tricks too with it. It's not as easy. I mean, it is easy, but it takes a little bit of commitment and confidence to get used to fishing a hair jig because it's such a slow approach. Like you can't move the boat along too quick. So you have to be in high percentage areas or areas you feel like there's a good chance you're going to get bit because you don't want to be necessarily searching dead water in places that there may not be fish around. That's a heck of a way to spend a day throwing a hair jig if there's no fish around. Like it sucks.
But we saw those cruisers along that break. That's when you pulled it out and you caught them, man.
Yeah, Eric and I were fishing one day, and they were just pulling up on the beds.
Yep.
And it was so hard to very spooky fish, I think.
Oh my God. Oh, for sure. Slick, calm conditions, high sun, middle of the day, but the black marabou jig was the only thing that would catch them.
And that wasn't easy. And then I got picked on for my casts.
Travis like literally throwing his entire body into it. And I said, look, dude, try to make the same cast. And he actually casted longer by throwing the English in the body. I mean, he almost fell out of the boat casting one time. It's crazy. Dude, you were like, it was like the, what was that movie with the guy with the golf swing that would take the running start?
Happy Gilmore?
That's it. You were Happy Gilmore casting.
Could be.
It was crazy. You threw your whole body into it. You cast violently, though. You always
Travis,
do.
what type of rod are you using for if you're throwing a hair jig? Bo Judd asked in chat.
So I like that 7-foot medium light I use the Legend St. Croix Extreme. Light braid, 5-pound braid, 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. 6, 7, 8, somewhere around there. I mean, I use 8 because I feel like I can get away with it, but 6 would probably be a better choice for especially for like a 16th or 3/32.
I mean, the big thing is, guys,
but you can get away with 8.
It's hard to cast. That's the deal, right? So you need, and it's got to be a medium light rod. If you try throwing a small hair jig on a medium action rod, you're here's the thing. This is 1/8 ounce, right? If I put a piece of plastic on the back of this, I could cast it a good distance, right? But as soon as there's no plastic on there and you just got this, it's the head, and now all this is resistance, right? It just slows it down, right? You can't send it. So you have to have something that's going to have a little more flex. I mean, and frankly, I'm a victim of this because I do it myself, but I probably will try and throw the smaller jigs on an extra fast tip more than I care to admit. But at the end of the day, I have this, gosh, I don't even know what it is. I don't know if my buddy John's in here right now, but we have these old Fenwick rods that are like medium lights, and we used to use them for like casting light jigs for coho on Lake Michigan. Wow. It's like a 7-something rod, and we would throw small little jigs and for these coho and cast at them. But I started using that for hair jigs, and it's a medium light action, and it's just, you just need it. You need it to get it out there. And the key with throwing hair jigs, right, T, is long casts. You want to be able to make long casts. And like Travis said, how many feet you say, T? 8 to something?
As far as depth, yeah, perfect. I mean, no, you can definitely fish them deeper. I'm just saying ideal conditions. That's what I would.
Yeah. I mean, even that, if you're talking 8 to 12 feet, you're throwing that light of a jig where it's not, the weight's not centered on it. And, it takes a little while to get it down. And then, to be honest with you, that retrieve, you've got to be able to manage that retrieve and keep it in the zone that you want it at. And that's hard to do. You have to be real patient with it. But you've got to be, for all those reasons, you've got to be able to make longer casts so you're able to manipulate that bait over a longer stretch of time how you want.
No, I agree. It's some people are asking about 5-pound braid. We're questioning that. It's like you were saying, Cuda, it's about resistance, right? And so I feel 10, 15, it's if you can get a smaller diameter, you're going to get a further cast.
Right. It's
going to send that hair jig a lot further, especially when you're dealing with conditions like wind and things like that. I just think it. Plus, I think the fall rate is a lot better with that less drag in the water. So 5-pound gets you the depth you want to get to quick enough, and then when you're retrieving that, allows you to keep that bait in the strike zone longer, or at least in your mind where you think that strike zone is. So that's my theory on 5. I don't care if it's you're not going to break. Don't be afraid of 5-pound braid, man. Like if you take it between your fingers
and
open
pull, water.
It ain't breaking though.
It's open water. I mean, you're letting a medium light rod do the work, man. I mean, that small, he's not coming off. He's pinned with a super sharp hook. Smaller hooks have tremendous holding power. It's a fallacy to think that the bigger hooks are the ones with the holding power. I've caught 4-pound trout on a size 20 hook, and he's not coming out. That's crazy with like 4-pound tippet. And the fly rod's a freaking noodle, dude. And as long as that trout doesn't get me in the rocks, I'm good to go.
Did you guys hear Eric's tarpon comment earlier in the show where he was showing one of his jigs?
I'll show the hook.
Yeah, I mean, guys, you got it. This is the phenomenon, right? So when I started to go get some fly, and I'm talking, this is about small hooks or diameter line and everything, right? So when I started buying some fly tying materials and asking, I'm like, hey, I want to make some Clouser minnows, and I want to bring them to Hawaii, and I want to fish for snook off the beach in Florida. Right. This is what I'm talking about. Throw casting bobbers with my kids. I have 3 sons. And they when they pulled out this hook, And I'm looking at this little old hook. I said, really? I said, I'm supposed to catch those bigger fish on that? And I'm shocked at what the fly fishermen get away with hook size and in line for fish. And it just reminded me that Eric's going to show us right now, but this would be a good reminder for like B10S Stinger, one of the best hooks out there.
Baby, right there. I tied a tarpon. A tarpon. I freaking fought a tarpon and landed him, meaning the hand was on the leader, which is a legal catch in tarpon fishing because you don't want to bring 100+ pound tarpon into the boat. They'll wreck your gear and pull your arm out of your socket. So there it is, man. That 2-aught BS 10S Stinger freaking fought literally probably for 40 minutes because the tarpon would come up and gulp air. I thought the guy was going to like boga grip him, but no, he did not.
And guys,
that was
listen,
incredible. One of the biggest fights of my life. I hand tied the fly that caught that tarpon.
If you ever sit down with a true fly, and that's not me, right? If you ever sit down with a true fly guy and they talk about hooks and then go over everything, you're not going to believe them. Just like I didn't. I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, that's great. All your fancy pants, light stuff and everything else. But guys, this is the real deal. And it makes me think that us knuckleheads have been overdoing this for a long time, to an extent, right? When we're fishing heavy cover, timber, different types of structure, it's different. But if you're a smallmouth guy and you're fishing open water and you're fishing rock piles and everything else, I mean, honestly, I think you could get away with a ton and more than we probably even realize in terms of the size of the baits we use and what we're chasing after. I mean, somebody opened my eyes up to something the other day. What size are baby gobies? Smallmouth people, right? What's the size of baby gobies? Like how big are they? Does anyone know?
Tiny,
right? And so there's a time of the year, and I don't have all the answers to this. I'm just putting this out there to get people thinking, right? And there's a time of the year where the baby gobies are there, right? And I'm sure that the bass and the perch and everything else eats the shit out of these things. And so when I'm sitting there showing you a 3.5 to 3 3/4 size bait, you're like, well, what about, 2.8 Kitex. Now we're getting down more into that smaller range. I don't know about throwing these crazy little things past that, right? But I mean, a 2.5-inch bait is finesse, right? To me, but for other people, it might not be. So I just think that we could get a lot more finesse-y than what we really fish. And if you want to learn why, talk to a fly person. They'll direct you.
I'm all about it. It's just, for me, the smaller the hook, as long as it doesn't bend out.
Like that BS
cool
Stinger right there, that hook is not going to bend.
Mm-hmm.
It is so stout. It's ridiculous, man. I mean, it's got a little flex to it, but it's all about that O'Shaughnessy bend. I mean, to me, that's a straight pull O'Shaughnessy.
What the heck do you use that for?
You must have been asleep and didn't look at my post today for
show.
I don't even know what to tell you anymore.
You
dude.
went to go get your lead box when he showed that, Travis.
No, I'm talking about, does he actually look at my Instagram posts and actually comment? And this just proves the point again.
I'm looking. Well, is it Epic Eric's Bass Lab or Epic Eric Official? Because now you got two of them.
Now you're just being passive aggressive, and I don't like it. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Now you're making excuses.
Because I can't keep up with them all.
You can't. The only one you ever need to look at is Epic Eric Official.
Okay.
Yeah. The other one was just so some creative angler didn't steal it.
I got you.
Because we've both been there before, right?
Yes.
But the one guy was just trying to help me out, so that was good. He was trying to protect me. Anyway, did you read it? Did you see it? Now you know.
I did not. It must be a story, huh?
It's a story, so I know that's hard to go to too when you get notifications from 7,400 other important people in your life. I'm just the co-host, but that's okay. You managed to
Can
like
you just tell
interact
me?
with some of the girls of Instagram. I don't know why I can't be on the top of your list. They get your attention. I'm sorry I don't provide the same kind of content, but what can I do? This is pretty sexy in its own right.
Talk to me about that.
It's a weighted inchy wacky for basically a Senko. You could throw it on a Gajo stick. Let me show you how sexy that would look. Because you like a 4-inch Gajo stick. And you love wacky, bro. Don't tell me a smallmouth wouldn't eat the fire out of this crawling along the bottom.
I don't know why you had to get so defensive over.
Look at that, man. Dude, are you kidding me? Dude, what? What with the eyeballs? Don't even tell me that thing wacky and just falling down and then just crawling along the bottom, inchy wacky. Oh my gosh.
Eric, you have those are lead dumbbell eyes, right? And then
these are actually they're brass.
They're brass. Okay. And then did you weight? You have that a little more forward. Did you any other weight on the hook?
No, not at all.
Just you moved it back from the eyelid a little bit.
Right,
correct?
because
Like
Clouser style. And so I would fish this with a Senko, and a Senko, what's a 5-inch Senko weigh? 1/4 ounce?
Sure, enough to cast it a country.
Right, because a lot of people are casting Senkos wacky without weight, right? Or they're tail weighting it. And, tail weight does a good job for certain situations. But for inchy wacky, the technique that I'm talking about, I want the weight in the center. I want that thing undulating. So you got a little bit of skirt flow, got a little crystal flash material, and you've got this badass stinger hook in the middle, man. Are you kidding me? Forget about it.
That's awesome, buddy. It looks
phenomenal. Travis, how about this? Nose hooked with a shad-shaped worm on the bottom, dragging along for smallies. Don't even tell me this wouldn't get the shit eaten out of it. Dude, look at that little sexy saucy with the shad-shaped worm nose hooked. Come on, bro. Dude, what? Dude, seriously, we're throwing this. It's the new Marabou fly, bro. I'm just gonna slowly reel that thing in Wisconsin, ticking along the bottom. That's a little perch pattern with the orange bar. Look at that. Look at the orange bars. If that ain't talking perch, I don't know what is, man. Little
Is that a little orange cobber?
Yes, well, those are.
Look at that.
Those are. It's a round rubber. It's a silly leg, I believe. Hold on, I have material in my bag. No, I took it out.
Fantastic.
It's a silly leg. It's round rubber. I think it's made by Rainey's. Rainey's, Rainey's. I love Rainey's stuff.
Yep.
Round barbed rubber. Yeah, that's what it is. My
guys,
man,
when you see this stuff,
hell, you could put a freaking crawfish on it, dude. Are you kidding me? What? Now you got a little micro jig. Oh my god, it's endless.
So everyone in chat, when you guys see these types of things, I mean, like a lot of this stuff is cool to look at, but go back to what I said earlier. It's just like, here's the thing. Somebody asked me if I'm going to sell jigs. I have no idea if I'm going to sell jigs someday. I don't have time to make enough jigs right now. I can tell you that. So I'm not selling any. But what I will say is this. I like being around people that like to create, right? And so there's a culture to that. And it doesn't matter how much or how little you do or how often you do it. Just if you are interested in something like that, then make sure you connect with people that are like-minded, and it doesn't mean that you have a ton of things, but you have to be able to get started simply. And if you don't do that, then you will get overwhelmed. And I did when I first started trying to do, adding tying materials. Guys, I'll be honest, I love silicone jigs. They're fantastic. I'm tired of making them. I can make them. I have a buddy that wants some real finesse type stuff. I just got off the phone with Ryan Whitaker the other day from Tightrope Jigs. He's out of Chicago. Another one. He's from Chicago.
They make a badass jig.
Yeah, he makes a great jig. But the thing is, I can't buy this. I can't buy this. I could get it in the store. This here, I posted this on my Instagram with that dark gray. I mean, look at that. Look at that tail.
Forget about it.
I don't know. I'll throw this instead of a hair jig, and I know it's not black, but I think I'm going to get bid on this. And I have to trim this up. I purposely didn't trim these so you guys could see some of the color differences looking through here, But, I mean, that's that freestyle jig mold, T. And this is
it's a very I mean, it's gorgeous.
What
Like,
did you?
no,
what
I'm
did you coat the
intimidated
thread
again.
with?
I will never be able to tie like that.
Sure, you can. Easy, man. Oh, Cuda could teach you in 15 minutes. Cuda, what did you coat the thread with, man?
All right, so
that?
yes, I didn't talk about it yet, but here's what I use. So there's various different types of resins out there. Okay.
Yeah.
And I just started using them because of the fly tying stuff, right? So basically, it's UV cured.
Oh, dude, right, with the lights.
Right. And so I use Loon UV thin. I also have UV thick, just based about the viscosity of its flow. But you know, it comes with a real fine applicator, and you put it on, you rotate it, and then as you rotate your jig or just keep turning it to kind of get it balanced out, you take your UV light and just hold it over, turn it, and it dries it. But I will tell you this. Almost all UV resins have like
milkiness to it.
Like, yeah, or a tackiness at the end.
Yeah.
So you want to know what I do? I literally use the UV resin to get it hardened right away. And I go get the good old Sally Hansen's.
Hard as nails?
Yes. And I snap it right over the top. And I even put it over the head to kind of keep the eyes in.
That thing is coated with Sally Hansen hard as nails right there. You like June bug. This is the big June bug. Check it out. I have to make the June bug appearance. Excuse me for 1 second. I showed it earlier. I just want to show the size differential.
Pull your June bug. And here's the June bug jiggler.
Dude, I love the June bug jiggler. Look at that, folks. You got that 1.5 in the big.
Hey,
look
where's
at that, man.
Can you trim that hair and show us how you'd fish it? Like Ray in the comments said, show us one that's ready to fish.
All right.
All right. So I would fish this one close as is, but this is a little different. So this is about 3.5. So this is how I like my taper, right? It just happens to be how I'm holding it. But there, now let me get the angle.
Cuda.
I like mine to taper in a little bit and to taper in a little bit.
I do too.
What size jig head was that?
What's that?
What size head is that?
1/8 ounce head. And
so
go ahead.
I'm trying to think how I could say this without sounding mean.
No, say it.
Okay. So I'm not sure if I would have confidence to throw that for smallmouth per se up north in certain areas. However, in the comments, people are like herring imitator, think Lake Murray. What came to my mind is schooling spotted bass or largemouth in some of those clear bodies in the southeastern part of the country. If you can cast that and work it back, like for me, you're going to have a hard time. I know other colors work, but you got me. You're as beautiful as that jig looks. You'd have a hard time for me throwing anything but black.
No, that makes
with
sense.
Some variations, but I can see where you get some schooling fish that have never seen something like that before, because they probably don't see too much of that in some of these reservoirs and stuff.
So if you said, now keep in mind, you heard me mention some stuff about beach snook and other things like that. That's the thing that got me into all this. So like basically, I want to make things that I think can serve two purposes to an extent, right? But if I had to make 3 colored jigs that I would fish for smallmouth in this style is one, I think this is going to catch fish, this is going to catch smallies too. But if I had to limit it and I wasn't trying to make cool stuff, right, or just keep it simple, I would always try and do like a white belly. You could go all black, like you said, but I would do 3 things. I would do like a dark olive, almost a melon color. I would do one in like a dark smoke or steel gray with a white belly. And then I would do one that looked kind of like a perch.
Yeah. And so I'm not saying maybe, maybe we're all closed-minded, because you hear these hair jig guys and they're talking about straight black, and then that's what you hear, and then that's what you use, and that's what you tell the next guy, next thing you know, maybe
it's black jigs, right?
Maybe white is the color. You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
Yeah. I mean,
but I've tried them. But then did I really try it? how long am I casting a new color hair jig
Right.
when
So-
I'm in perfect conditions during hair jig season, which is
Yeah.
year round, but like there's some times where it's really excels. I guess I need to take the time to experiment with color before I start saying I wouldn't throw that. So I don't want to I want to take that back. I'm interested in it, but I got to commit to it and see what's up with those types of patterns and colors.
So Travis, you've talked about this before, right? So you only have so much time, right? And so when you go and try new baits, whether it be plastics that somebody sends you or whatever it is, like you have to put time in with it, right? And the thing is, so my mind is from this perspective that I'm not necessarily crafting and making things, right? Because I know that they're proven and they're going to work. I make it because I say maybe somebody one day is going to use it and this combo is going to work. So basically, I also feel like we talked about this like on the past on some of the other shows, right? About how we like we get stuck in the things that we use, right? And I think that even though I'll tell you, like, yeah, show them something different, all these different things we talk about as fishermen over all these years, I don't show them something different most of the time. I have this I have this set of rods on the deck that I'm using, and that's how I'm going about it, right? Because
green pumpkin watermelon. There it is, bro.
I'm a green pumpkin guy, right? Watermelon, maybe some orange fleck or whatever else.
Why are you showing us the sexy shad then, man? Lemon shad. What the hell is wrong with you, Cuda?
I mean,
you gotta
they
give
look
us some
nice.
green pumpkin, man.
They
Listen,
look
I'm going
nice.
to tell you something. One of my favorite crankbaits of all time is
this-
a citrus shad, and
Yes.
all I know is it catches fish. And if that damn crankbait
All right.
catches fish, something's got to be up with the color that this is gonna maybe.
Will somebody
don't
please
know.
fucking throw that jig this year and catch a goddamn bass on it so we can just answer the question?
I'm gonna throw them. I'm gonna throw them.
When you're fun fishing, put the regular shit down and throw the new shit. I do that. I can't be the only guy on the show that's going to throw new shit. Travis, you got to deviate too when we're up fun fishing.
I do too. Let's get better at it.
No, motherfucker, I'm already better at it. You got to get better at it.
Jeez.
You telling me to get better at throwing new shit?
Okay,
I'm down here
maybe
to
what you should do is go back to the basics.
No,
Okay.
F that. That's not what I'm about.
my
Hey,
God.
let me tell you, come Derby time, I'm throwing what I know works. That's a straight up fact. And so
Yes.
I get it
That's
where
a
you
good
guys are
point.
coming. I'm just having fun. I'm just, this is why we have fun on the show, right? Because, it gets me all spun out. But look, I go out and test my shit, bro. Bro, I threw the June bug crankbait with you, man. I throw the rat. I'm throwing this big. I threw the big ass crankbaits down in Florida. Who takes a crankbait to Florida? I did. Anyway, I'm constantly experimenting out there. Even when I'm fun fishing, I know I should probably have something else in my hand.
Somebody
Right.
asked in chat about whether I'm making jigs with deer hair or bucktail, or there's some differences, but this is what I'm going to tell you. I've made bucktails. I can make them. They catch fish. Some of my buddies are phenomenal bucktail tires. I like it for saltwater, and I haven't been making as many for freshwater, and that's the truth. Simonton talked last week.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. I mean, he makes bucktails. They look phenomenal. He made one. He's got one that's like a green pumpkin and like an orange, like perchy on a football head. Oh, come on now, man. That thing is killer. I can make them with bucktail, but here's the deal. I personally like using other materials that I can get to do shape and form more like a streamer than I can with bucktail. When I use bucktail, I'm gonna get things that are gonna be more flary.
Yeah.
And I'm not the best at tying it either sometimes, right? You really got to take your time with bucktail and how you wrap your thread.
Oh my God,
it
it's
like,
hard. You got to stack it. You got to cut it from the right end of the ass of the deer hair. I mean
it takes
tail.
a little time.
Yeah,
But if
dude,
you-
it does. It's a pain in the ass to work with, but if you're good, it
Yeah.
works nice. I tied with it for trout flies, man. a caddisfly. I couldn't remember the name of it, but man, getting spinning deer hair on a head, the flare.
Yeah, spinning deer hair.
But when you do it right, it's pretty.
It's the cat's meow.
It's kind of magic, man. When you get that thread right and you hog down on that thread and it spins and that whole the front part like a finesse jig, it goes poof.
And the other thing is too, bucktail is compared to marabou. You know, let's just compare the two ones that everyone talks about, bucktail and marabou, right? It's the two most common things. Even the people that don't tie or don't throw bucktail and don't throw marabou who have heard of bucktail or marabou. And the thing is, marabou, you're going to have, I personally believe, is going to have more action in the water. But the thing is, marabou is going to condense and become smaller profile when wet in moving through the water. Bucktail is going to move a little more water, maintain a little more volume. It also takes in water, so it's not like a synthetic, right? Which is what I used on all these jigs where it sheds water. But the point is, you're going to get a different profile and different effect depending on how you use the material. The classic bucktail, if you guys go look on Michael Simonton's webpage, I don't have any in front of me, but bucktails basically they're pretty standard in terms of what you're going to get on them. What Eric's talking about is flaring them, and like depending on how far, two things dictate how much flare you're going to get on a bucktail. Where you take the bucktail. Here, I might as well show this because this is what
I have to.
So let's just do this. All right, so I'll take this bucktail out and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And this is going to dictate. So this is a blue bucktail, okay? Not the nicest, best one out there. But there's three things that you need to know about bucktail, okay? One, if you take material from this section, when you tighten down your thread, when you're wrapping with it, you're more likely to keep it in line, right? It's basically in thirds. Top section is going to stay a little flatter after you tie it down the hook. This middle section here, it's going to flare a little bit. And if you take the hair off of the bottom section, right, it's hollow. This bottom section is hollow. And when you tighten that thing down, it is going to go, it's going to flare out. So if you want something a little more sleek when you're tying a bucktail, you take it from this top up to about, here, a little bit of flare, this section right here. And the bottom, there's certain techniques for that, right? I personally don't have any techniques that I tie with where I want that crazy pop out flare. I like my things a little more streamlined, right? But
you'd want it for like a caddisfly. You want the floaty material, like so in the fly tying world, when you're trying a dry fly that you want to float on the surface, you want the hollow hair so that it has air in it and floats the fly.
That's right. So hollow means it's going to float. So
right on, man.
Now the other thing is I talked about thread pressure, right? So that's, if you're going to tie something, then I'll, message me. I'll show you how to do it. But at the end of the day, when you're wrapping on a jig, I will drive myself crazy if I try pulling things out and looking and tying. It won't work. But the basic concept is when you're holding your material on a hook, right? And you're holding it there and you're going to pull your material around, what everyone has a tendency to do is, you got it pulled tight and you're wrapping right around it. Well, that thing is going to flare out right away. You basically have to lift your thread up nicely, lay it over, nice little soft loop. You can come around again, soft little loop, and then you pull down. And by doing that, you're setting two loops up to hold that material down. You're not cranking on it right off the bat. How you work your thread and where you take it off the bucktail is going to dictate, what that jig is going to look like. And there's a science to it. Guys that tie with bucktail make it look easy.
They do, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Flow. If you start tying bucktail over tonight, you're going to, the first couple are going to, if you're not an experienced tyer, they're going to look a little janky. And then as you get into it and you have somebody giving you some of those basic tips, you're going to tie some decent stuff. But like I said, guys, craft fur. Do It Molds has craft fur. Go get some craft fur.
Hey, dude, let me tell you something. Craft fur for a winter jig, if you're a winter largemouth guy, craft fur is the bomb.
A couple comments here. C2's wondering about that bucktail. We don't see a lot of blue deers out in the wild. So where are they getting that?
No, so basically, every one of them's died. Everyone's died, and the only part
That's a good one.
Listen, the only part that gets dyed is the white part of the deer tail. So basically, you have a bucktail, and you turn it around, and basically one side of the bucktail is completely unusable because it's the dark hair that wraps itself around, okay, the tail, and basically the underside, or as it comes in and feathers into that white section.
Here's another, and I'm being serious here.
I'm being serious too. Only the white part.
Yeah, but my question is, obviously, does have tails too, right? So it could be a doe tail.
We're getting complicated here.
No, I'm just wondering.
No,
let's ask the chat.
Does anyone know that?
What do we know? What do we know out here?
I don't think I've ever seen a dyed doe tail.
What are you talking about? You tell me that does don't have tails?
No. What I'm saying is, if they are dyeing a tail, they're going to dye the bigger tail, which is the bucktail.
Not necessarily. There's some big does out there.
Fair enough. Oh well, then maybe it could be a doe tail. I don't know. Good question. I could stand corrected. I may be standing corrected here soon.
We're gonna find out. Guys, I was joking about the blue tail. I know they dyed it. Come on.
I thought you meant somebody asked that in chat.
They did, jokingly.
I'm just.
You were trying to be nice.
Third guy in on this.
Nobody knows?
I'm going with bucktail. Sticking by my first instinct.
Fine.
But they don't call it doe tail.
No, I know. That's just the
Could
the
be.
term.
There's big doe.
I know they do. Of course. You don't think Meps ain't gonna take a squirrel tail from a female? Sure they will.
But it's not called buck squirrel tail. It's called squirrel tail.
Fine.
I mean, bucktail sounds more cool than doe tail. Who wants to tie with a doe tail? Raise your hand.
The blue deer are gone. R.I.P.
They're Taco TK, my man.
Yeah, Charles, you're right. You're exactly right. Doesn't matter. They're all the same. A deer tail's a deer tail.
That's true. We probably got some doe tail. Right. You answered your own question, man. Good job.
So one more
You're pretty
thing
cocky tonight, Eric, by the way, according to me.
Every night.
There are lots of places to get material, guys, right? So, I mean, I get some stuff from Do It Molds. But if you want some more of the synthetics and things like that, there's plenty of places you can get it from. If you have a local shop, it's good to go in and kind of learn the material. But I mean, two places that I get stuff from is Mad River Outfitters in Ohio, and the other place is OLE, and then Florida Fly Shop.
Oh, wow.
Down in Florida, obviously. But the nice thing about that place is their prices aren't bad, and they free shipping. It doesn't matter how much you have. So that's hard to to counter buy from there, So, but I mean, if you need the basic stuff like craft fur, Do It Molds has craft fur. You can get some of those shake it jig heads. I personally think the powder paint is the way to go, but if you don't want to do that yet, you can pick yourself up one or two colors from. There's Do It Molds in the house right now. There's Brennan.
Brennan, what's going on?
So I mean, you just have lots of options, guys, and then pick somebody out, whether it's going to be your mentor or not, or just somebody to ask questions of. Find somebody. It doesn't matter who it is, Ask around. If you send me a question on Instagram, I'm going to answer it and try and help you out, and steer you in the right direction. Start simple. Don't overcomplicate it, and just stick to a couple of colors, because it does get overwhelming, right? You got to start somewhere. So
very true.
Damn.
I've filled the house with tying material. Yeah, I went down the rabbit hole with fly tying, dude. But then I turned a lot of it into bass fishing stuff, so that's cool. Works out.
That's my love, you know. I like this fly tying or bass jig tying stuff. Call it what you will, but I like smallmouth even more.
Dude, man, I mean, you could tie
Albert grubs and tubes.
you could tie feathered trebles. You could tie spinnerbait skirts with craft fur. I mean, you could do all sorts
shot
of
stuff.
Everything, man, everything. I mean, it's the possibilities are endless when you look at the material and think about unique ways to apply it, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. Very cool. I love it. Awesome. Killed it, Cuda.
Well, let's bring Alex back on.
Yo,
Mr. Alex.
I can't wait for Tuesday night, man. You're gonna become the Pope or something.
The Vatican has been in contact with me. I can't really talk about the content of the discussion, but I have had some contact with them, yes.
Are we waiting for white smoke?
Are you going on Oprah soon?
I don't know about Oprah. She's not really my style.
I would definitely turn an interview down by Oprah and
yeah.
Don't worry, it's not coming, Travis.
I'm just saying
soon.
I wish Ellen would ask me to come on the show. I would say, nope, I'm good.
Ellen.
What world are you living in?
I'm just saying, bro. Get me started.
Don't pass up an opportunity.
Nobody has to get you started, dude. You came out. Travis called me from the road coming home.
Oh, geez.
And dudes, he came out guns ablazing, like he just dumped on me. He had to let it go. He was worried about so many things. You were actually in a frenzy. You were awfulizing. It's a psychological condition where everything is awful in his life. He went on for 15 minutes, then he would laugh crazy for a second and go right back to it. Unbelievable.
Only because I wanted to show you that I was sane and that I'm thinking clearly. So I threw in some funniness and then I had to get right back into it.
You're thinking clearly.
I would assume if you have to go out of your way to make the other person in the conversation realize that you're saying that might be a flag right there. If you're having to go out of your way to show that you are saying.
You're a wreck, dude. You're a wreck.
I will admit it.
But I still love you, man. You're a wreck. You're worse off than you were 4 weeks ago.
If you guys, I think if everyone,
a promise, man, you're an absolute wreck.
If you guys would have heard the conversation, it would have blown your mind what I was talking about.
Okay, honestly,
no.
One of the things you said to the stream tonight, you would lose every single viewer on the channel except for 5.
Oh, jeez.
I'd still tune in.
Get out of here.
It was astonishing. I don't know what planet you're from, dude, but I still think you're crazy.
No Yeti talk. No Yeti talk.
He's a hot mess, guys, but that's one of the reasons we love him.
No, but
it works for him.
He's been decent lately, right? Sometimes we goad him into the madness, but overall, I would say, especially in 20, come on,
for this year,
he's been pretty good. Let's be honest.
On the streams, yes, he has. Behind the scenes, I don't know. I honestly don't know where he's coming from. I don't know. I'm more lost today after that conversation, the shockers that came out of his mouth, than I've ever been.
I'm trying, T.
I know, man. Trying. No, he has. He's been really good on the streams. He really has been, man. I applaud you.
This has been a tremendous opportunity to look into the light of the smallmouth crush world. So I don't know. Guys, listen, everyone out there, I'm just an average Joe that speaks my mind and doesn't mind saying it. So it's super cool. I love getting on here. You guys obviously know I do stuff with Do It Molds and crazy cool. More things to come in 2021. That's all I'll say for now. Maybe someday I'll be on this show again and talking about other things. So we'll see.
I'm in. These comments are quite entertaining this evening.
They always are, dude.
Yeah.
TK's busted on the blanket. What is that all about?
Well, someone said they want to get a new one. And I said, no, it's not going anywhere. And I think TK agrees. I mean,
He wants
I have
it.
to keep it now. I love it.
Tell him
He
to
wants to
spray
see
paint.
like
He
3
can
bass
spray-
blankets, so you got total coverage.
No,
So,
I think it's
can
better
we
that
do-
way.
Okay, fair enough. But I mean, I think that's what people are trying to say, like identical blankets. So he's at around the school of bass.
Ah,
Yeah.
I might look for a smallmouth one. Then we could have a smallmouth and a largemouth.
Okay,
But then I
dude.
need
Now that's incredible. Can we do a donation tonight for unless Travis, you just want to gift it to him and send him one.
what's that?
What's a gift? A gift is something you give somebody for free. It's out of the goodness of your heart. And when you feel empathy towards someone, empathy is when like there's 2 words that I'd like you to look up: altruism and empathy.
Okay.
And so
Uh-huh.
and then you'll know what to do.
I
And it
think
might
I was
strike
very
you.
concerned on the drive home 2 nights ago when I talked to you about life and what's going on.
Okay, that's perhaps
All right.
it's that. We could, in a way, I hear you. In a way, that's true. That's true. I will. Yes, you were.
It's a touching moment.
No, it's
I
true.
don't know. I don't remember half the stuff I told you, Eric, because there's so much.
I know. I remember it all. If you'd like me to replay for you in private, I will. It's up to you. I don't want to.
Coffin in the fluid bed. We'll blow that thing. We'll turn up the air, Travis, and we'll blow that powder paint all over. We got to heat it up with a torch. You get Jimmy on one side, me and Eric will come over, and we'll hit the other side. We'll hit it with the torch and then dump. We'll toss the Protec all over the thing. Flat black, you have it.
Will Agajo said, man, just wrap it flat black with dye, co-angler dye on the side.
Smallmouth Crush wrap.
Roll right in there with dye, co-angler dye with the song blaring with a speaker on top.
There we go.
It might look
Like the
cooler if I got
Bluesmobile.
if I got a big boy truck where I had a little lifted and
Did
you know what I mean,
got
dude?
a big boy truck instead
If
of
I
your
if I
Fisher
had
Price?
if I had a big boy truck, I would do that.
Are you going to get a big boy truck?
Man, not right now.
No, one day. Do you want a big boy truck?
I would like, yeah, I'd like a nice lifted up F-250 or something, you know.
You want to lift it?
Yeah, dude, my ass, it sags, dude.
It
All the
does. No,
shit
I
I
know.
carry in it. It's
Yeah.
a
That's
great truck, but dude, I mean, those 2021s, I priced them out. And it's like, damn. Because I know I'm gonna want leather and big panoramic sunroof and all that jazz, right? I don't want cloth and fucking cranks on the windows and all that. You know, I gotta
Have you
The
done a
King
budget
Ranch.
for everything you want? The big boy truck, the house, the jig corn
Yes.
station.
Yes.
Yeah, you better start making some quad, bro.
Yeah.
And soon.
Well, I think sponsorships and things like that will come into play for a lot of things. So that's nice.
Absolutely. Speaking of good opportunities to support the channel, next Thursday, Patreon, not
There you
Thursday,
go.
it's Monday now. Patreon, lipless crankbaits. Eric's going to blow our minds. Travis is going to sit there and run Magic Eraser over his while he listens. And we're going to have a great time. We're going to have another giveaway.
Hold up, Alex.
I think he just said it because you said it earlier.
I throw lipless quite a bit, and I've caught a lot of smallmouth on it, a lot of largemouth on it, and I'm gonna definitely have some things to share when it comes to lipless.
Well, I figured you would. I was just going off your comment earlier where you said
know.
Eric is clearly going to be running that show.
Well,
something along that line.
Eric's gonna have more. Man, how do I say this? I'm sure he's gonna bring some craziness that I don't know about. Yes, that's what I meant. Where
Gotcha.
Craziness? Is that what it
Yeah.
is? Yeah. I might be out of town Monday. Good luck. Enjoy the stream. As if that's all I got to add, bro. I'm out.
Craziness?
That's what I just said.
Okay, maybe I was trying to be nice and compliment you.
It didn't sound nice.
Okay, well.
It's just
It's going to
crazy.
be outside of the box things that the average person doesn't think of that Eric does. That's going to make people realize they need to experiment and branch
crazy.
out with what they throw with loopless crankbaits. There
Hey,
we
keep
go.
shaking your head, Travis. Maybe I'll be there. I'm renegotiating.
Okay.
It's just like this is like the 10 p.m. conversation or 11 o'clock for the East Coasters. It just automatically comes up. It's like a schedule.
Yep.
Just wait till the stream ends. Even better.
Oh yeah, I
man.
can't wait till this stream ends so we can have a
Just together,
serious
boys.
conversation.
I'll be gone. That's when I push the exit stage.
What are you
right
talking
button.
about?
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Man.
You're always with us till the end. Now it is late, guys. 11:30. We are going to wrap this show up. I really appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Seriously, Cuda, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely,
Great
guys.
stuff.
Hey, guys, here's the thing. This is an opportunity for me. And at the end of the day, I mean, chase me down on Instagram. It's at Barracuda, the number 8 and U, double R's, at Barracuda8U. If you need anything, let me know. I don't know everything, but I know enough to tell you what I do know. And when I don't know it, I'll say I'll help you find the answer. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it, T. This has been awesome. You know?
Absolutely, man.
Cuda, you killed it, man. You killed it.
Good
bro.
job. Good job.
Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, man. Way to go, bro.
Thank you, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see everybody next week, Monday. And as always, until next time,
we'll see you on the water.
The water.
well.
Mm.